Hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are back to playing deltagreen tonight. And soon, I will not be able to say that anymore, as we are getting extraordinarily close to the end. As we just, last time around, had some craziness transpire out in the desert. And we are rapidly approaching, bad times. I've been scrambling to prep all day. I'm working pretty crazy. And then I totally forgot to do a summary. So Steven is going to go ahead and do the recap for us. So Steven, please tell us what happened last time on deltagreen.
So last time we were exploring the complex, right? And Vin, of course, being the hero that he is, took point and made sure that everyone was safe and protected and well supplied with water and energy drinks and cocaine. And we found one of the victims in her own house, her childhood house. The victim's name is completely blanking for me here. It was
all that cocaine.
Anne.
It was Anne Delaney. There we go. And she was not catatonic, but definitely like out of it. You know, she was dehydrated, she was malnourished, she'd been going through it, obviously, because we're in a parallel dimension. Did I mention that at the beginning? I'm going to go out of order as I do this recap. And Vin, of course, was very loving and attentive. He's an excellent father. So he made sure that her needs were taken care of immediately, that she would be well taken care of. He made sure, like, very much like went into EMT mode and like, we're going to make sure that she is healthy. And then after ensuring that she was safe along with everyone else, because not only is he an excellent father, he's a protector and a defender, and he puts everyone in front of himself. It's really a facet of my own personality. But we made sure to get Anne Delaney out of the house because there were no other real exits there. Out of the house being that we went into old Ronnie Lightside's apartment, Frank Ryder, because this is a parallel dimension and things don't make sense. Non-Euclidean geometry, folks. And from there, we went out of the apartment into the actual complex again, and then into the city, because none of it makes sense. But it all makes sense, you know what I mean? And as we're in the city, we start heading out, trying to leave. We go towards the desert. There's a whole bunch of like gravestones and stuff like that in various languages. Apparently, people have been dying out here, which isn't that surprising because we knew people were dying out here. That was why we were here to investigate that. But nonetheless, Vin is very smart and put two and two together and figured out these were like actual bodies under these gravestones because he dug one up to be sure. And then we kept going, and there's this not sobbing, but like a woman who's sad and like going around kind of like tending a garden sort of. And she looks like Navarro's mother, Navarro being a child who was lost in this parallel universe before. And she like was like in a weird way, like calling us towards her. And Vin, of course, perfect mental resilience, had no desire to go over there, but not everyone's as perfect as Vin. What are we doing? Do you want me to stop the summary? Because I'll keep. Okay. But then we get into like this Mexican standoff where these other people who are from Breckenridge, this paramilitary awful organization. It's always their fault when something bad happens. Breckenridge mercenaries and a researcher show up, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to talk to that woman. Why the fuck are you here? What the fuck is going on?" And we're like, we don't know because we're shitty investigators. Not Vin, but the rest of you. And then one of those Breckenridge people starts going towards the lady, and we're like at a face-off. We've got like guns pointed at each other, even though we're told not to like actually shed blood. And then the lady goes, and then they are threatening to shoot the lady, and we tackle one of the mercenaries, but not the other one because, 3-on-1 is better than 3-on-2, I guess. And the one who was not tackled ends up shooting Navarro's mother, who's, spoiler alert, oh, nice sound effect, I like that. Spoiler alert, not actually Navarro's mother, or maybe it was, but changed, who knows, we didn't investigate, and became like this massive like Valkyrie, like fury, like this grotesque Greek deity that has like this massive whip that'll just rip your flesh off. Yeah, that was fucking scary. So of course we started running, and we're organized, and we have backup plans upon backup plans. So we scattered in all different directions without communicating. Some of us just ran off a cliff, literally. Others of us went back into the city and hid in a building. Valkyrie lady is following us the whole time. Then, again, being the defender and the protector and the guardian angel of the group, faced off against this grotesque fury and shot at her. Hit her center mass with some pretty powerful hand, again with the sound effects. Look at this. I like this tag team here. And honestly, should have killed her, but we have a somewhat biased GM who said, no, that doesn't do any damage. So Vin then decided to do plan B, because we have backup plans, and just ran his ass off. And crit rolled on the run there, because I am good at what I do, which is running away. Brave Sir Robin. Eventually, all of us were able to run away, surprisingly, because my Trey's character has a broken leg. So I don't know how she was running, but she was running because we have a very benevolent GM. And then we all end up like basically running off the cliff, because Navarro, like our spirit guide, who probably wasn't actually Navarro but took the form of Navarro, told us that the only way to leave was by literally leaving, like going out into the desert. So after running from this fury for like an hour, good thing Vin has cardio and doesn't smoke, or maybe it was the cocaine fueled adrenaline. We all were able to run off the cliff, and that is where we ended the session. Did I miss anything?
Well done. You did a fantastic job. Absolutely fantastic. So much so is that I think that's what we're going to do from now on. I'm going to offload the recaps onto you all. So there we go. I'm just going to lower my my workload and get
I'm all for it.
Okay. We ready to start then? That was actually a really good summary. You did a really good job. Other than there's a few editorialized moments inside.
But I feel like I was pretty accurate.
And the everyone came together. That was also kind of an important thing.
We all came together. I don't remember an orgy.
Wow. And on that note, black screen. We hear something before we see anything. It is a storm. We hear rain. We hear thunder. We hear a periodic, crackle and crash of lightning. And as we fade in, we see an SUV, large black SUV, driving down a relatively flooded road. And there's a torrential rain coming down. When we look inside the SUV, we see Inferno is driving. And he is like kind of trying to squint out front of the windshield as you see the wipers going back and forth in this rapid speed, and it's still very difficult to see out front. Weaver is sitting next to him with a shotgun. Vin and Chopra and Carr are piled together somewhere in the back. There's a weather report on the radio, and you can kind of hear it every now and then kind of coming through. And it's like, the rain continues today, and it's the third day, and the wind index shelter in place, no one, and it kind of rotates through warnings to locals here and there. The visibility is extremely low, but it definitely appears, for those of you near a window, that you're driving through a muddy residential area. That's kind of on the edge of the bigger road of some kind. On the driver's side, Inferno, when you look out, you can see that there is a worn billboard that reads, "Buy 3, get 1 free at Keith's Tire and Auto Center." There is a phone number underneath it, but it has been kind of blended and drained off by this paint coming down from the wetness from the storm. And on the passenger side, Weaver, you can see an empty playground, barely visible houses that are a little bit behind it. And then you all feel the SUV come to a stop and Inferno is kind of braking as we're now at this 4-way crossroad stop sign. And you all see for the first time that you remember, you think, recently, somebody else out in the road. As you see a figure walking outside in this torrential rain, this horrifically violent thunderstorm. You see what appears to be a woman walking alongside the road, not on a sidewalk, but in this somewhat like maybe 4 or 5 inches flooded with 3 dogs on a leash. And she's just slowly catching up to where you all are at. What do you do?
There's somebody out there, Weaver.
Yeah, it looks like a lady and she's got 3 dogs.
See if she's okay.
Fuck. You want me to go out? Fine. And
you could probably call out to her. She's literally walking right now at this point. She's coming up along the rear of the vehicle, and then she's about to kind of cross, or excuse me, on the front of the vehicle, and she's going to kind of cross past you. Like you're going one way, she's kind of coming in a different way and curving around the corner. So you could probably just kind of wind.
So she'll roll it down. Hey, lady, are you okay?
And she like kind of shuffles over, and she's soaking wet, and she's got this long black hair that just kind of hangs down past her shoulders. It's relatively straight. She's dressed not for the weather. Like she's got no slicker. It's just kind of normal generic clothes, like black or dark jeans of some kind and some kind of sweatshirt. Pretty unremarkable. But at the sound of your voice, she looks up at you, and the part of her hair is kind of covering one side of her face, and she comes a little closer, and the dogs are kind of pulling, but they're behaving, and you can see they're in the water too. And she says, "Funny, I was gonna ask you the same question." And then you can see like she kind of starts to grin. And as she does, like this sort of rivulet of water comes down from her forehead, right down her nose, and drips down her mouth. Weaver, give me a int times 5.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
As the face and the voice are familiar to you, but there is some disconnect. Something's not matching.
Big failure. 97.
Okay. You see a woman in her, you would peg her a little bit older, maybe in her 70s or so. You can kind of see the face, like there's wrinkles to the face, but not so much that that she looks like she is, near the end. And now that she's closer, you can see her sweatshirt actually has writing on it. And it says, "I love," or "I heart New York" on it. Tourist style sweatshirt. She kind of peeks inside and kind of looks at you all. "Where are you all headed?" And she's kind of looking past Weaver and like taking stock of Inferno. She gives you this grin, and she looks at kind of everybody else as well. And all of you, none of you recognize the face, but you all recognize the voice. Anybody who wants to can give me an int times 5. And this is not you, Weaver. You've already tried. The rest of you can.
Someone pass, please.
It's definitely confusing because Weaver, you swear you've seen this face before.
Yeah.
But you cannot place it. It's not your mother. It's not Aunt Viv. You just can't place it.
That's
How did we do?
Fail for me. I got a 70 over 65.
Okay.
Success for Chopra with a 36 under 7.
Got it. And then how'd you do?
For Car.
25? Okay.
Yep.
Car in Chopra. You recognize the voice. It is the voice of your handler for the Kingman Operation Windblown. Lyta Hall. Sounds exactly like her. There's a little bit of a kind of a sing-songy drawl to it, but nonetheless, the sentences start off exactly the same. It's only towards the end of a sentence that it kind of trails off in this sort of capricious kind of twist. But otherwise, that sounds a lot like Light a Hall to you.
Paul? Is that you?
She looks around at all of you, gives you a big grin. Oh, maybe. I have so many names. Now, I don't know how you all got here, but you're not really supposed to be here just yet. Soon, maybe, but not just yet. And as she's talking, all of you can see behind her in the distance, you start to see some lights begin to illuminate on the far side of the street, or excuse me, to the right down this like crossroads. And you see these lights begin to illuminate, these street lights, one after the other starts to come on, one, and then one set, and the next set, and to the next set. And you see this swerving road begins to climb up a mountain off to your right, up a hill, I should say. And each time a new set of lights comes up, you see more and more of the hill until it kind of disappears into this darkness. And then you can faintly hear this sort of bell, like ding, ring somewhere on the wind and on the rain. What do you guys do?
When were you expecting us, if not now?
Soon. You all really should, well, you should go say goodbye, I think. It's the least we could do.
Where is here?
She kind of just like reaches in and with her hand just kind of pats you like on a hand. That's a question for a different time. And you can see like the dogs begin to yip below and they're kind of tugging. Oh, settle down there. Settle down. Well, off you go now. And she looks back. Okay, you start driving away. Which way do you go? Do you just go straight? Do you go left? Do you try to follow the
illuminating
lights? You hang a right. And you start driving up the hill. And you hear her calling off, I said you should say good. And then you can't hear her anymore. And you keep going up this hill. And more, as you start traveling up of it, the rain comes down harder. The lightning crashes. The thunder seems to shake everything. And more lights start to illuminate. Until finally you see like the hill sort of flattens. Rain doesn't stop. And you just kind of travel for a bit where it's empty. You don't see mountains, you don't see hills, you don't see homes, you don't see any kind of turnoffs. And then you see a shape on the side of the road, maybe a half a mile ahead. You're getting closer and you realize you keep hearing this bell, but it's not coming from out there. It's coming from like inside your car, and you realize you look down at the radio and it's coming out of the speakers. Ding. When you look up again, you can see this old mission style church, adobe style. You can see like this muddy desert landscape around you with some cacti and some rocks and such. And right as you're like getting close enough to start making out between the sort of the mist from the rain, exactly the details of this building, you recognize it as a church. Everything just starts to rain even more and more and more until everything kind of goes black once more. And we hear a ding, ding, ding. The rain doesn't fade, but that chime, that bell, turns into a pip, 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 pip. When the sort of blackness starts to fade, we are in a hospital room. we can see there are 2 beds on either side of a room, not unlike the room that we saw Jeremy Benton and his mother in, except this time there are 2 beds. And we can see laying in one of them is looks to be Carr, and the other one is Chopra. And then like we get this split screen moment, and we see just across the hall there is a second room, and we see waking up with the same bip, bip, bip. We can see Weaver, and we can see Inferno. You are all connected to IVs, monitors. You've got stitches and bandages. Chopra, when you try to move, you feel this sharp pain radiate through your leg. You look down, you can see it's been set in a cast. All of you are extremely sore. And you kind of shudder at the sound of a lightning crash, as outside there is this heavy storm that is just made the entire sky black. You can see some of the trees outside of the hospital, which you now recognize as Kingman Medical, is kind of swaying around here and there. And you can see that across from your beds on the wall, the TV is on, and it's just some old black and white movie. I'm going to start with Carr and Chopra's room. What do you 2 do?
Or wake up. Wake the fuck up.
You don't have to yell. I can hear you.
Okay, you're awake? Are you awake?
Yeah, I am now.
We're in a fucking hospital. We were in a car. Like, we were in a car.
Yeah. We,
Were we coming to the hospital?
No. And Carr sort of looks at herself, because Lyta Hall was so much older in that vision. So she just kind of checks to see if she still looks not in her 70s.
I'm sorry? I don't understand your question.
So Carr's just sort of checking herself to see like how much time has passed. Like, does she
I'm sorry. No, you look at yourself and you've got cuts and bruises and horrific sunburn here and there, abrasions, that kind of such. But there's no signs that you have aged like 30 years. No. So,
I think that's going to be a conversation for another day there. Chopra, how's your leg? And she's kind of leaning over to try to look.
It's fucking bandaged up, but I didn't fucking bandage it up.
Well, we're in a hospital and you had a broken leg, so that's a good place to be.
How is this such an okay? This is. How are you so calm right now?
You're right. You're right. Hold on a second. Give me a second. And so Carr is sort of seeing if she can kind of get herself up a little bit.
Yeah. It's painful, but you're able to.
Nurse!
Okay. Those of you across the hall, Inferno and Weaver, you hear the sound of Chopra's voice, and the 2 of you are also waking up. That same bip, bip. You hear the sounds of thunder, you hear the sounds of rain, and you are in the same room. You see each other. And just like the other room, TV is on, black and white movie, etc. What do you 2 do?
Oh shit.
Get in the room, see if we can find a date.
Okay. I would say one of you would probably still have your phone on you, maybe. Like amongst your belongings. If you get up, and when you do, by the way, you are as sore as you've ever been in your life. Like you feel like your skin is trying to peel itself and kind of crack apart. You feel you feel like your bones are aching from the inside. You feel extremely woozy as you stand, but you're able to kind of shuffle over and check your phone, or maybe you grab like the TV remote and activate the screen and you can see it pop up. And it is 5 days after you all went out into the desert. Or I should say more like 7 days after you went out into the desert, since you were out there for at least 2. It's about a week. A week has passed.
It's been a week, Weaver.
Fuck. Who brought us here? How? I had the weirdest dream. I could have sworn we were driving and we came across Lyda, and she was telling us we weren't supposed to be here yet, and we had to go say goodbye.
I think I had the same dream. Let's see if we can talk to somebody.
So you hear the sounds of Chopra calling, and you hear the sounds of like voices down the hall. But in both rooms, you hear this like sudden like kind of increase, this crescendo of volume suddenly from the television. And when you look up, you can see that the actress in the TV is like staring directly at the camera, this glare of rage, black-haired woman. And that just reminds you, Weaver, probably, of the black hair dripping in front of you. And she's got a gun, and she's kind of pointing it at a man. And you can hear her get really loud to the point where it's echoing down the hall. I brought you here, Jeffrey. I tracked you down and lured you here. It was me. Because I know that it was you who killed my sister. And now you're going to die like the dog you are, Jeffrey. I'm going to make you suffer. And then all of you hear this gunshot, like an old 1940s kind of gunshot, where it's just like snap. And you see the man in this dramatic way reaches for his stomach, and then he falls groaning. And she's standing over top of him, looking down, and she's got this cruel smile on her face. And then just as her head is turning up and locking eyes, maybe one with Chopra, maybe one with Weaver, the TV shuts off. And this nurse comes around the corner into Chopra's and Kara's room. Okay, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Oh, I'm so glad you all are awake. Oh, my goodness. Whew. We were worried. And you see a very friendly-faced nurse that you probably have seen when you were here interviewing Benton and the various families. But maybe you didn't. Maybe you got her name and you didn't get her name. But you see as she comes in, she's like, okay, everyone's okay. Oh, hey, Sandy? And you hear like the sounds of another kind of shuffling, and they kind of curve off now into Inferno's and Weaver's room. And like one of them is racing over to Carr, one of them is racing over to Inferno. You all shouldn't be up easy now. You all have been, go ahead and sit down before you take a fall. We don't want any more broken bones. And they're trying to like ease Inferno and Carr back into your beds.
I'll sit back under the bed.
Okay. And so both of them are kind of doing the same basic thing. You know, we're kind of seeing that same kind of cutting back and forth between each of these conversations. You've all had quite an ordeal. You've been in here for about 5 days now. I think it's 5 days, Sandy. 5 days. You all have had, well, no one really knows exactly what happened to you out there, but you've got all manner of wounds, dehydration, disorientation, broken leg, like in the room with Chopra. One of them kind of nods at you, Chopra. They found you in the desert. You were all kind of scattered a bit, but oh boy, you are fortunate that the crews found you when they did, because we have had nothing but storms since. I hate to think of what And she just sort of trails off at that.
What cruise?
The search cruise.
Found all 5 of us?
No. We only found 4. Like I said, you all were very separated. I really should get the deputy down the hall. He should probably be the one to fill you in on this. Let me just get these back in. And she kind of comes over to Inferno or Car, where some of your IVs have gotten loose, and fixes them.
Sure.
And we'll say for ease, one of the nurses fetches. You see this deputy comes out, and again, you recognize the face. You probably saw them when you were in the Kingman Sheriff's Office or the Mojave County Sheriff's Office. And we'll say for ease, maybe a little time passes, and they kind of get those of you who can shuffle and move across to come in. So there's one debrief, and you can see the deputy calls up the sheriff, and the sheriff comes kind of rushing down, and maybe a half an hour passes. And you all are getting water in the process. You're getting drinks. You're getting orange juice. Some of you are getting food here and there. You feel this awful dryness on your lips. If you look into a mirror, you can see your faces are sunburnt more than you've ever seen, peeling away. Some of you can see capillaries have burst. So your eyes, your sclera are covered in red and orange. You can see others. Your nails have been ripped and peeled back. You can it looks like you have been out in the desert, not for 4 days, but for 40. You all look very, very bad. But eventually, Sheriff Gus kind of takes his hat off. Sandy has already kind of let the proverbial cat out of the bag, but I know that there were 5 of you all agents. I'm sorry to say that we were only able to recover 4. The whereabouts of Special Agent Price and a few other folk, Dr. Marshall and 2 of our teams, our search teams, Miss Wynn and Mr. Ramirez, they're still unknown. Unfortunately, the weather has not cooperated with us. About an hour or 2 after we recovered the last of you 4, well, the skies just sort of seemed to open up and just decided to let all the dust in the land on us. And then for the past 24 hours, as you could say, well, it's been rain. And normally I would welcome it, considering our state, but it does mean that we've had to call off searches. I'm very sorry. And you can see he's got his hat kind of down by his chest. I'm very sorry.
Do you have any information about Marshall and Wynn and Ramirez, their last known whereabouts?
Yes. That is how we found, and kind of motions over towards Agent Inferno and Chopra. We found the 2 of you within about a quarter mile of each other. We followed the GPS locator on their ATVs, and we found 2 of them, 2 ATVs, that is. One of them seemed to have suffered some considerable damage, and Miss Chopra here, Agent, you were underneath it. Doctors presume there was some sort of accident, and that resulted in your broken leg, and Miss Agent Inferno here getting thrown loose at a different point. It seems to have had some kind of concussion. All of you, it seems, have suffered some sort of, various traumas. Unfortunately, we weren't able to rally enough to find any signs of anyone else, I'm afraid. Again, I'm very sorry. I'm happy to answer all of your questions. I would also request that you could answer a few of mine, if that's all right, if you're feeling up to it.
Lucky you found us. Good talk.
Now, I was hoping that you all could tell me exactly, well, what you remember, and, well, I'm just going to cut right to it. Where have you all been?
We'll do our best to explain the location we were searching in.
So what do you say? Do you just describe the desert location, or like, and you keep all that unnatural stuff kind of?
Yeah,
off to the
I'll
side?
explain that we went to that location and then nothing about entering the city. Just that we found
Trooper's just
kids
gonna
out
say
there.
we got lost wandering around the desert.
Okay.
We just got turned around and couldn't find our way back. But she is gonna ask him. So there were no cars, and there was nobody else. It was just the four of us.
As I said, there were 2 ATVs. One of them had suffered significant damage. Then the search crews found you, Agent Chopper, underneath one with your broken leg. A second one nearby had no gas, and we found Agent Inferno within about a quarter mile of you. We saw no signs of tracks of any kind, other than some ATV tire treads. And we followed those as best we could until the storms kicked in. A separate crew on a different side of the Matrix, they were able to recover Agent Carr and Agent Weaver. You all were about 5 miles apart from each other, in pairs, or close enough to it. Agent Inferno, you said you were searching the grid, but why didn't you all check in? We found radios on your persons, and there were extra radios within Dr. Marshall's rented ATV, and he does have some of the better technology here that kind of cuts through a lot of the interference that the Cyan Desert tends to provide. Why didn't you reach out? We had people listening in to whatever channel, and no one, I'll be honest, no one picked up any signs that you all were in distress. Ranger Wilson even took a horse out looking for you all, and couldn't find you. So I was just hoping, can you fill in some gaps for me here? It's a long time to be wandering around in a circle.
Because some of us did try to contact in.
We did. The radios just they didn't work. They randomly picked up channels they should not have, and then they stopped working altogether.
I see.
He may have had high quality equipment, but even that equipment didn't hold up.
Now, you all were out there for quite some time. I have to ask, did you find any signs of the missing hikers? Unfortunately, Jeremy has not resurfaced. And outside of Emily's remains, we haven't found hide nor hair of any of them.
Unfortunately,
just
no.
Skeletal remains that we told you about.
Oh yes, we've gone and confirmed those. Those were Emily Hernandez. The family has since taken ownership of them and are headed back down. Well, they've already headed back down a few days ago. Maricopa. You can see he's extremely tired and he's very confused. He's trying to be very patient. So you're telling me that you were gone for 2 days in the desert, and then you've been in, the doctors called it a coma, but they also said that they couldn't really find anything causing it. I'm not a medical professional, but normally there is some sort of significant head trauma, or it's chemically induced. To create this kind of extended moment of comatose, and all of you met neither. Did you ingest something while you're out there? I need some answers here.
I'm sure we all wish that we had answers for you, but just like when we found those bones and it seemed like she had been in the desert for much longer than she had been, there are things that are happening that are just not explainable. And if your desert here can create that kind of aging on a college student in just a few days, the fact that we can come out of whatever the hell happened relatively alive, I appreciate wanting to find answers, but I, for one, am grateful to be breathing and walking and not as we found poor Emily.
I think truly we underestimated the heat of this desert.
Okay, I need one of you, and I'll let you pick who, because all of you have contributed at this point. One of you needs to roll a persuade test, and it is going to be a roll, and it is going to be contested with a
ton of boosts.
With his
Car has an
humans.
80 persuade.
That's
pretty
gonna be
good.
Car.
I want to remind you of what contested means, is that both of you roll. Okay, so I'm rolling for him, he's rolling human, and you're rolling persuade, and this is just whether he's buying your story. And what this means, it's basically blackjack. So it's, you want to pass, but the higher your roll underneath your target number, the better. Obviously, a critical success would be an even higher tier. So just keep that in mind.
Okay. Does that change the fact that me being
No.
the
I'm just
80s?
letting you.
Okay.
Statistically, having the higher score is still better.
It's still better,
wanna
okay.
roll high.
Yeah.
Because there's more
I
opportunities.
just wanted to
for
make
crits.
sure you guys knew what it is.
That
What'd
was
you do?
nice.
32.
I rolled a 13. So what I'll say is he kind of nods. He kind of lets out this breath that you probably didn't even realize he was holding. I got to tell you all, it's just been one strange problem after the other. And he kind of like just slumps against the wall, and you realize like he's almost like letting a bit of his guard down now. We were kind of holding out hope that maybe you all knew something, but honestly, with how things have been going in this damn place, I don't know why we held any of it out. Listen, I'm not saying we've given up on your partner, but it's been 5 days, and the storms have been almost non-stop, and we've gotten no sign of him. We have ended the search for the missing hikers. Congresswoman Karras has returned to D.C. She has leveraged her position to make a significant amount of statements about the quality of my office. Oh, I'm sorry, I completely forgot. Your supervisor, Agent Hall, came by to check on you. I think it was 2 days ago, Henry? 2 days, sir. 2 days ago. Really nice lady. And I mean, if I could say so, I feel like I didn't realize the FBI. I thought there was like a forced retirement age at some point, but I'm sorry. And he realizes like he just kind of overstated. Oh, I apologize. Anyhow, I've already made sure that my office is kept in contact with the Phoenix branch. Don't worry. So she's been made apprised of your condition.
That's good news. Were you able to make any connections for again Marshall or Winter Ramirez? Anyone come?
We have not found
looking for them.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Marshall's sister has been, well, you can imagine. We weren't, however, able to get a hold of any family for Agent Price, or, well, any of you all. However, we were told that your offices would handle it. So, I imagine you probably have some phone calls and such that you want to make. So I can go ahead and Henry and I can go ahead and leave you to it.
Yes. Is Marshall's sister still in town?
No, she only called. She hasn't quite come over. All flights have been grounded at Kingman Airport. No one's come up for a few days.
Did she leave a number or anything?
I'm sure my office has it. If you want it, you can call in. We can get that information for you. But you all just need to focus on your recovery. I think you beg your pardon, you all look terrible. And I imagine you probably feel even worse.
Did Lyda leave a message?
No. Where's her? Shut up. Hang on. And he's like kind of going through his pockets. Let me see. I got her card here. And he kind of pulls out a card. And he kind of sets it down, like right on a table. Just her contact information. We have it on file now. I'm sure you don't even need this, do I? So he goes back to grab it and kind of put it back in his pocket at that point. You probably don't even need it now. I'm sure you can contact her just fine. So, but anyhow, is there anything else I can do for y'all?
Yeah, there's a favor I was hoping that your office might be able to do for us.
Of course. What's that?
I don't know how closely you work with the res here, the Wellplay folk, but could you just check if maybe they found someone wandering around the desert, or if you found us, maybe they found.
No, that is an excellent line of thought. We have spoken with Chief Youngblood, Dave. He's a fine man, but no, they haven't located. We spoke with one of his deputies this morning. No, they haven't.
All right, thank you. Also, I'm sorry. I might be the morphine. Didn't quite hear what you said about Letta Hall. You said she visited a few days ago?
She stopped by to check in on you, and to check in. She drove up from Phoenix, she said, and spoke with her for a little while.
That's, and she's... That's surprising because, like you said, she's... old.
Well, she was a very nice woman. Like I said, I'm sure she would. I told her office that I'm sure you all would check in immediately. So I'm not sure how y'all FBI folks handle that.
I know they've changed her number, and I don't want to have her new card. Can I have the card she gave you?
Sure. And he reaches in, kind of pulls it out, hands it over. Chopra, it does not look like the Leta Hall that you met with down in Phoenix.
Thanks, Sheriff.
You're welcome. Go ahead and you all take some rest. We can get you some food. And please, when you all are ready, we'll talk again. And I'm just glad you all are okay. And you can see as he leaves, he's a very defeated looking man. deputy leaves. The nurses, the four of you have like a moment of privacy. And Chopra, when you look, if you recall, Agent Lyta Hall, she was kind of a probably late 40s, slender African-American woman with a very tight kind of haircut. What you're looking at here is a white woman, probably in her 70s, with a much more frayed haircut. Her kind of gray-brown hair kind of touches down to her shoulders, and she is dressed in a business suit. But it has all the same credentials that you remember seeing on Lyta's on the card that you got from Lyta. It's the same number, same email address, etc. There's just a portrait in the corner this time.
Does it look like Elizabeth Salmon?
Weaver, do you go to look at it?
Yeah.
Chopper's holding up the card.
I would say both. Weaver, it's much easier for you. It's the same woman you saw on the side of the road and the dream you just had. And you can go ahead and roll a sand test now.
Oh.
Hair is a little different.
73, failure.
Okay. Oh, poor Weaver. 2 points of sand loss.
Okay. Let's see.
Now
I'm gonna push that off.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll a d4. And I am thankfully able to roll that off. Sorry, Jamie. This is or no, we'll do Millie.
No, do Jamie. That's fantastic. You don't need a daughter.
Poor kid.
She's better off without you.
She is. I mean, truly,
Honestly,
I've been a shit
kinda
mom.
is.
Oh, man.
It's deltagreen, man. They're all better off
It
without
is, yeah.
You don't need to say it out loud.
you. Someone has to. Like, I'll be
Oh,
Weaver.
that's the Lyta that was in our dream. She was soaked, and I recognize that. That's the same one. And then when we woke up, there was a woman in the movie. It was a black and white movie, and it felt like she was talking to me specifically. Like, we killed her sister, and she's talking to this guy, and she's talking about how you killed my sister, and I lured you here. She lured us here. And like, she kind of goes a little bit like, I technically didn't take the sand loss, but like, she's definitely kind of latching onto this. And then she will kind of push herself up, and she reaches for her purse, and she's going to dig out her phone, and she's going to start repeatedly calling Vin.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what you guys did with your cell phones. If you brought them with you out into the desert, they're probably not particularly functional any longer. If you left them in the car,
They probably died.
they're probably there. I mean, the nurses or somebody probably was kind and plugged them in for you. It's sort of up to you. If you think you brought them with you out into the desert, they're dead. If you think you just left them in the car or in your hotel, they're probably okay. So you tell me.
I think because we kind of just left, so I don't know if.
Okay.
I'll roll 50-50. If I roll
Sure.
over 50, it was in
Yeah.
the car.
I like it.
Okay, it was in the car.
Okay. So we'll say you start calling Vin. No pickup. And then not only that, but it doesn't even ring. It just immediately goes to voicemail.
Fuck.
Do I have a say in this?
Did you not
so
read the message I told you? I don't know why you're addressed as Bryce. I told you to not dress as him.
So Carr looks to see if anyone is listening. Like,
As far
if
as you can
anyone's
tell, you've got some
down the
privacy.
hall, or I ran in one direction. Did we all separate?
No. Yeah. I don't know. I was running, and then Chopra was behind me, and Vin ran the other way. I don't know.
Yeah, I was only able to move because of Weaver, and we went into a building.
Yeah, but then I
Don't even
left
know
you,
what
and I just
happened.
ran, and I'm a shitty person.
No, you listen. If your leg was broken, I would have run. So it's fine.
how did we all make it out and he didn't make it out? And how have they not found the other?
He's made it out. He's made it out.
And then you guys see as Weaver kind of gets quiet because she's looking at her phone. And it's at this moment that she realizes she has 0 missed calls from Jamie, 0 texts from Jamie. And you guys just kind of watch as she gets really quiet and then just kind of sits back in the bed again and then just kind of almost, it's not catatonic, but she's definitely in her head and she's clearly upset.
Okay.
Chopper completely misreading the situation. We'll find him. Don't worry.
That's great.
I mean, we sure should have to try, but they've been out looking for all of us, and I am shocked that we are still alive. But I don't even know where to start looking for him.
Fucking scrappy old man. He made it.
Call the operation in. We're done here.
Okay, what number do you call?
The original Lyda Hall card that she gave us?
Okay. You call a number, and it rings, and you hear a voice answer. This is the Inkwell, Laverna speaking. Can I help you?
Operation Windblown. It's complete.
I'm sorry, what does that mean, sir?
Is Lyda Hill there?
I'm sorry, sir. There's no one here by that name. I'm the only one who works here. It's my store.
Luke, who'd you call?
Hang on. No. Let him have it.
I'm excited.
No.
Go ahead.
I know you are, but that's not. You're not. You can't. He's on the phone, so calm down.
Yeah, she's depressed.
Go ahead, Inferno.
I'm sorry. Who'd you say this was?
This is the Inkwell. I'm a books. It's a bookstore in Brooklyn. I'm Laverna Hearn. Lavana Hearn. Excuse me. I can't remember how to pronounce her own name. Lavana Hearn.
I think I've called the wrong number.
That's all right. No, people do worse things. People do a lot worse.
Oh.
And you say "Have a nice day," and then the phone kind of clicks. Okay. Chill, Ashley.
Weaver is depressed. Ashley is excited.
If it makes you feel any better, the only reason I didn't lose my shit is because I was muted.
I got a Laverne from Inkwell? What the hell is this?
That's not... Like... Are you sure you called the right number?
I've called Light Hall before, and it
Wait.
just went straight to a voicemail.
But Chopra, what number are you using? I remember you calling in.
And I don't have my phone. I took it out with me. I must have lost it.
Wait, Inkwell.
Whatever that first number was.
We bought books there before.
You did, and Agent Aggie did.
Yeah.
You two were the only one who actually talked to Lavana Hearn, which is why I only gave. It's why no one else would recognize. That's why I was telling you to calm your shit.
What? And then she has. She wouldn't have that with her. Can I call the number?
Yeah, it's right here.
Because she's thinking it's kind of like the desert thing, where if I call, I'm gonna get something different.
Okay. Do you call?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 second. Just gotta pull. I'm just trying to pull up so I pronounce the name correctly because I can't remember if there's an R in it, and I totally botched where I put my notes.
Are you I'm excited by Ashley's excitement. It's infectious. So you remember in like Impossible Landscapes when like we started making the connections for things and then it was all like, oh, and that. Got another.
Phone rings. A woman's voice answers. Hi, you've reached the Chapel of the Celestial Matron. This is Minister Cath. Can I help you?
Excuse me, you said the Chapel of what?
The Celestial Matron. Can I help you?
Oh, I think I might have the wrong number.
Oh, that's all right. People do worse things. People do a lot worse.
Oh? Like anything in particular?
Oh, I'm just an old lady just talking, that's all. People always do awful things to one another. That's just people's nature, it seems.
It is an unfortunate part of humanity.
Yes, it is. You all are very much like that. Now, can I help you with something?
What do you mean by you all?
Oh, it's just Southern hospitality, darling.
And
Y'all.
I'm sorry. What was your name again?
Oh, I'm Minister Cath. Cath Badbrook.
Oh.
You sound so familiar. You think we have met before, maybe?
I do believe so. I do believe.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I'm sorry for wasting your time.
Oh, time's there to be wasted, sugar.
Okay, well, thank you, Minister Cath. For
You're welcome. God bless.
God bless.
And then click.
Something fucking weird's happening.
You get the bookstore?
No, I got the Chapel of the Celestial Matron, which I got Minister Cath, who I interviewed before. If you, when we were, fuck, where were we? And she starts thinking as Ashley's frantically scrolling through her own notes. When we were in the silo, North Carolina.
I wasn't with you there.
Oh, fuck, Vin was there. Luca. That was a lady who worked at the church sorry, it's on this thing. Damn it. In front of me.
No, that's his name. I like thinking that maybe in this moment, like there's that little bit, you let that little crack. That's great.
When we were in Northern Carolina, Silo, when we were interviewing all those people, there was that freaky fucking storm. And now we have a freaky fucking storm here too.
Something's going on here. I'm getting out of here.
And all these old ladies.
I'm gonna try and leave. Grab my things, stealth out of here.
You just want to stealth out? You don't want anyone to see you? Okay. Sure. Give me a stealth test.
Ooh, 16. That's.
If only there
15.
was luck. You needed a 15, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I actually got
that's a success. Holy crap! You succeeded. All right. Let me do a little contested. Probably shouldn't pronounce it that way, but all right. Okay. Luca, it is painful as you pull the all your various IVs and such out, which I hate that they do that in TV shows and movies because it's really freaking painful and that everyone just, oh yeah, this is no problem. Everything's fine. Freaking most ridiculous thing. But you do it. It's extraordinarily painful. And you leave and you get outside. It is storming like crazy. But yeah, you get outside. Once you get outside, you kind of get your clothes on. No one really pays you any mind. Last time you were here was before you went out into the desert, and there were all sorts of like news vans and all. It was basically a circus. It's not that way anymore. But it's dark out. You can't tell if it's night or day because of the storm. But it's raining. You know what it's like when there's a really bad thunderstorm in Arizona. It's got that feel. Really violent lightning. You can see the water doesn't clear very easily. The water kind of comes in waves. There's a lot of muddiness on some of the cars out here, but it looks as you remember it.
I'm gonna see if our car's still in the lot.
There wouldn't be a car in this lot because you guys didn't drive to the hospital. Someone brought you here.
Then maybe I'll find some sort of transportation back to Phoenix.
Okay.
Like maybe a bus or a taxi.
Okay. I will say that you could very easily get a taxi or like a Uber or something like that to take you to a bus station. That's doable. None of it seems to be a problem. Like even if you go back in, yeah, you're able. No one seems to be stopping. And so we'll see like a montage of just like Inferno rushing off by himself, getting in a taxi taken into like a bus stop. There's a lot of like, the weather's kind of rough. It's going to be a little while. It's a bus, so it's not like it's like going to the airport and like they're every 45 minutes or something like that. Like it's going to be a little time before a bus comes in, but you're like waiting around at the stop, and we just see that whole kind of montage play out of Inferno, no one interfering with you and doing this at all. Okay. Carr or Chopra or Weaver, Inferno leaves. Is there anything else you wanted to do before I let Steven play? We get the Venus new character.
At the hospital, no.
Okay.
Once we get out, I have a few things that she'll want to check out.
Okay. Carr or Chopra?
Yeah, that's fair. Same.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything particular. Just commenting frustratedly and confused. Where the fuck is he going?
He just gets up and leaves. See you. Okay. All right, then. So we are going to cut. And as we like fade to like this black again, we once more hear the ding, ding, that same kind of bell / chime. And as we fade in from it, this time it doesn't become lips. It becomes ding, thump, ding, like metal slapping against metal, like something's loose in the wind and just kind of crashing against siding. And when we fade in, we see Vin. Your eyes open up. You are in a very creaky and uncomfortable bed. Your eyes start to open up. And this place, this room that you're in is entirely unfamiliar to you. Nothing about it sparks any memory whatsoever. You feel pain everywhere. Like you look at your arms and it's sort of dark in here, but there is a dimmed lamp that gives you some vision. It's very dim, but it's enough. And you can see like your skin is torn. You see like there are cuts and bruises. You can see some bandages, some crude stitching. Like every inch of you is in pain. When you look around, you can see across from you there is an old dresser. Very old, like antique, wooden. And you can see there's various jewelry boxes that have been stacked atop it. And there is this sort of tarnished mirror that attaches to the back of that dresser. On either side of the bed, which is probably like a queen, it's not a king, it's a little narrow, it feels old. You can see these nightstands, matching wooden, and these tarnished lamps, one of which is on and dim, and it is giving some visibility. You also notice that on the other nightstand, there are a few milk jugs filled with water, and you can see there's a little discoloration at the bottom, like they've been reused. You look down at your body, and you realize that you're in a pair of old pajamas, striped. They are slightly too small for you, and that seems to be exacerbating some of the sunburn. You are very sore, you're very tired, and you hear the sound of a very violent storm outside. that's battering the walls of wherever the hell you're at. And you can hear the ding, ding of something like hitting outside. There is one window nearby. You can't see at it. It's on the same wall as the headboard where you're at, on the other side of one of these nightstands. You can see that there is what you think is probably a walk-in closet door on one side of the room. And then you can see, which you presume is a door that leads out of this room, closed currently. Above you, hanging on the wall, looks to be a fairly large painting with a very ornate frame. You can't actually see the painting, just the frame. And on the far wall, interspersed between the dresser and the doors to the closet and out, you can see there's various framed photographs on the walls. What do you do?
You said the bed is very creaky.
Very creaky.
My first thought would be, I don't know where I am, therefore I must escape.
Sure.
So I would try to slowly just get out of bed without creaking as much as I can.
And you do as quietly as you can. It's not perfectly quiet. There's no way to make it perfectly quiet. But you do as quietly as you can, and you set your feet, which are barefoot, and you can see your feet are like they've definitely been battered here and there. But you also notice that someone has groomed you. Like your nails, both your toenails, and then you look at your fingernails, like someone has kind of given you like some kind of pedicure or manicure to kind of make sure you stay healthy.
Both kind and incredibly violating. I would look in the closet first to see if there's anything in there.
When you open the closet door, it smells very foul. On the left side of the closet, you can see there are women's clothes, very dated. All of it very loose. Some of it has like floral patterns or stains, fading in colors. Nothing looks particularly new. On the right side, you can see our men's clothes. Some of them it's a little bit more varied. A lot of work clothes, it looks like. You do, in fact, see hanging your clothes that you wore into the desert. They appear to have been cleaned, ironed, and in some cases stitched where you tore some stuff up. They aren't in great shape, but they have been repaired. And you also notice on the ground in front of you, there is a antique travel trunk.
I pop open the trunk to look in as I pull the clothes down and start putting them on.
So you start like kind of putting this on, you pop the trunk, and you see inside is the hacked to pieces body of what appears to be an elderly man. No blood whatsoever. It's a pale brown thing, this dusty old husk of a long dead body. And the smell, that foul smell, is even more potent as this just explosion of dust right into your face. Please roll a sand test.
My sand is so high right now. I'm at 25.
The good news, though, is that you are adapted to violence, which means that you are going to take the minimum possible, I believe.
What about when you crit fail with a 44?
Did you really crit fail? I still think it's the same.
I crit failed with a 44. Okay.
I still think it's the same. I still think it. So it would be 1. So the minimum is 1 in this case. Okay.
I mutter to myself, "This is why you mind your own fucking business," and I slam the trunk shut.
You hear a sound from you think below. You think you're on a second floor, judging by the sounds of the creaking, and you think you hear the sounds of like something clinking in the distance and like shuffling from below. And then there's nothing else.
I finish putting my suit on, and then step back into the room. Is it possible to see the painting now that I'm standing?
Oh, very much so. And what you see
the painting?
over top of the bed is a painting of a beautiful desert. You see a vast twilight sky over top of what appears to be a desert cemetery. You can see that there is a female figure that's kneeling at the base of one of these graves, for lack of another term. Her back is to you.
Them like a garden.
It looks very much like the garden. You see that there is a little signature in the bottom right. It's hard to see it from where you're standing, just coming out of that. You also, when you look to your left, just to the left of the painting, on the same wall is the window. And now that you're looking over there, it's bright as day. No storm.
Open the window. See if I look down.
You look out, and you can see you are very much on the second floor of what you think is some kind of farmhouse, maybe. You can see an old kind of well pump outside, and what looks like some planters for like herbs or other small kind of root vegetables, things like that. And you see Agent Weaver is carefully and quietly moving around in the back. And right as you spot her, you hear, "Donald, you better not be moving around again. You're gonna tear your stitches." And you hear the sounds of thump, 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 as someone is moving up the stairs.
I try to open the window. I try to tap
you
on
look back. Like you get distracted for a moment by the sound, but then you look back, you try to open the window, you realize two things. First, it is storming outside. Once more. And you can see where that pump is below you. One of the fixtures is broken off, and it's just slapping against the pipe coming up out of the ground, and you hear a ding, ding. You also realize that the window has been nailed into the sill. You hear thump, thump, and then some shuffling as someone has reached the top of the stairs and is now shuffling down the hall.
There's like an end table or something that was by the.
There's a nightstand and a lamp.
I grab the leg of the nightstand, not worrying about the lamp, and just lift it up and smash it so I have like a club.
Okay, so
just trying to like break it. I lift up the nightstand, drop the. I'm freaking out here at this point, and I just try to smash the nightstand so I can have a leg as a club.
Okay, I think I follow what you're doing. You kind of, and you're doing this all. By the way, adrenaline is flowing through you, but there's soreness everything you do.
I crit failed my sand check too, so I feel like I'm panicking a little.
The lamp falls over, smashes. You rip the. Actually, give me a strength ×5. Let's see if you can actually do this.
Oh, come on!
I think this is to do this quickly and easily and smoothly. Come on.
Can I take
think it's
boosts on this? Am I allowed to?
Yeah, that's fine.
I didn't know if we could on just.
I would have probably given it to you for free if you were in such condition, but since you're in such condition, I feel like you got to earn it.
Honestly, I was thinking before the session we have a ton of player boosts, and I want to spend them all. So
use them.
I'm going to use 2 to give me an 85.
You know,
I have old man strength.
Okay.
That is a 2 under 85 because I used 2 player boosts.
You very much break the leg off this thing. It stumbles back to the ground. It makes an absolute racket. The door swings open. "What are you doing, Donald?" And you can see standing in the doorway is a very slender, very old woman with an extraordinarily mean face. This contorted, angry look, dark, sunken eyes with these big rings, like she hasn't slept in forever. You can see these bits of like purple around her like temples where like the circulation and skin is beginning to get a little translucent from time to time. She holds in her hand a butcher knife that looks like it's got blood on it.
Donald, you silly old man. Get back into bed before you hurt yourself.
Old lady, you better back the fuck off. I am not going to deal with this right now.
I will not be called an old lady in my own house. How dare you? I am going to attribute that to your illness. Now get back into bed, please.
If you don't step back, I will club you in the fucking head.
Sweetie, darling, light of my life, I'm not gonna hurt you. But I will cut your fucking legs off if you don't get...
Okay. You rush and swing.
Excellent quote.
Go ahead and roll your melee. We'll call it... we'll call it melee.
I'm going to keep using player boosts until we're
That's
out.
what they're there for.
So that makes this 50 into a 70.
Okay.
And it's a crit fail 77. God damn it.
Oh, no.
That's my second 77.
You go to lunge at her, but your leg gets caught on the power cord of the lamp. You trip, you fall prone, and the broken leg of the nightstand goes skittering across the floor. And then she comes up and she stabs you in your hand as you try to reach out towards it. So I will go ahead and I will roll for her. If you get your ass kicked by an old 75-pound woman.
I came into this injured.
I rolled a 22. That's a crit success.
Oh,
Shut up!
You are at full health, by the way. You have been resting for several days.
Okay, thank God. Why'd my
Yeah.
voice get so high?
Your willpower, and your health, all of you, by the way, except for Weaver, you had spent. I think you pushed 2 off, so you had to spend that. Okay, sorry. Let me get. What was I doing? Her knife, right?
So we have full HP and full willpower?
Yeah, full HP, full willpower. But Weaver, you had suffered sand, and you pushed it off onto Jamie. I think you needed to roll a D4 first. I don't think we ever did that, so
No,
that's fine.
I rolled the
rolled a
D4.
2.
I got 2. So
Okay. Yeah. So that's it. Everybody else should be at full. All right. So she stabs you with this knife for 3 points of damage as you see the blade go right down through your hand and stabs into this old wooden floor. Okay.
Why do you make me hurt you? Why do you always want to leave me, Donald? I just want to love you. That's all.
Jesus Christ, you crazy bitch! And I go to rip the knife out.
Language, sweetheart. No language like that in our house.
Okay. So you want to rip the knife out? This is your turn. We're back to you.
My hand, yeah.
This will be contested. Give me, I'm going to say, let's do contested strength tests as you try to rip it free and she tries to maintain her grasp on it.
Gonna keep
Can move
the
22.
boost train
That's hilarious. She doesn't have very high melee, but it's pretty good.
40 under 85.
Okay. That is a success for you. I got a 41 under 35 or over 35. So it's a fail for me. So you're able to rip it free. Okay. So you,
Donald, stop it. Stop it, Donald.
and you yank the knife free. And that is your turn. Okay. Her turn. She runs out of the room and you hear as she starts running down the stairs.
Ah, Jesus. And I, in anger, I chuck the knife and I just go and I grab a bit of sheet and just start wrapping it, probably the bed or the pillowcase and wrap it around my bleeding fucking hand.
When you pull it away, you notice the bed. Now that you're looking at it, as you're pulling the sheets off the pillowcase, there is a very clear kind of dark brown stain on in the shape of a body on one side of the bed. the side that you were laying on. And you wrap your hand around it.
Fuck murder house is this? And I'm yelling at this point.
Okay. And is that your turn?
Yeah. Just
You hear the
trying to patch
sounds
up my hand, essentially.
You hear the sounds of footsteps rushing back up.
Donald, I'm very disappointed in you. I just want to be happy. Why can't we just be happy? You always are trying to leave me. You're always trying to leave me.
And you see her appear coming off the steps. And you can see as she's turning into the room, she has broken a shotgun in half and is loading shells into it.
You're not going to leave me again. You're not going to leave me again.
And she's just loading the shotgun shells back in.
Okay, lady, calm. I'm not gonna leave. I'm not gonna leave. I'm whatever you want.
I want you to lie back in the bed.
I will lie back in the bed. I have to go to the bathroom first.
I can take care of that for you. What do you think I've been doing for the past week? You never appreciate anything I do for you. You never appreciate me. Ever.
I'm so
40 years together, Donald! And you never appreciate me. Never. Always want to tinker in the garage with your friend. Never want to just come and have a dinner with me.
I'm so
Do you even love me?
Sorry. I love you so much, and you deserve so much better. Please come here. Come here. And I just pretend like I'm going in for a hug.
Give me a persuade test contested.
All right, we'll just keep spending these player boosts because our
What's your
audience is
persuade?
great. 54 now to 74. 67, that's good. It
I
would have
rolled
been a
an
fail without the
86, which is a fail. She does not have 90 human, so that is a fail.
And she's like, is that so hard? Just tell me that you love me. And just lie back down, Donald. That's all I want.
Love you. I love you.
I love you, Jamie. Say my name. You never say my name. My name is not
Jamie.
Lady. It is not... See? That is just... It sounds wonderful on your voice.
She comes over to the
Close
bed.
enough. I want to just push the shotgun down and just punch her.
All right. In this case, give me an unarmed combat.
Okay, I'm fighting an old lady. What the fuck have what have you made me do, Jeff?
You
I was
have
expecting
to.
a hug and grapple.
That is a 3 under 60, and I forgot to take audience boost.
Okay. Roll your damage.
What is damage for unarmed?
It is 1d4
it's 1d4
minus 1
minus
for unarmed.
That's gonna be really big numbers here. I can never grab the d4. That is a 1 minus 1.
Okay. You punch her, and the shotgun goes, kind of falling down to the ground at this point. You punch her as she's reaching in, and you feel like her jaw just collapse under the force of your fist. And she falls, and she turns back towards you. You can see her jaw is clearly unhinged. It has broken away, and you can see that there is already swelling that's beginning to form, blood spitting out of her mouth, and it's just hanging sideways.
You are such a bastard.
And she's going to lunge at you, and she's going to try to choke you. as unfortunately 0 damage. It's not enough to put her down. She doesn't have much HP, but she has more than 0. That's 6. That's a hit. So
I'm doing this, you bastard!
she's gonna start choking you. Holy Christ. This is hilarious. I rolled a 2 minus 1. You take 1 more point of damage as she starts choking. And you can feel her hands are bony and old and arthritic, but she has a strength in there somehow. And she is squeezing. Her jaw is hanging. You can tell the blood is dripping. What do you do, Price?
I'm imagining she like had to lunge towards me a little bit to choke, right? And she gets me, and I'd like to just try and grab her head and just fall with her to the ground and just try to like slam her head into the ground. So
all right, give me unarmed combat. Yes, go right ahead.
Boosts.
You genuinely have to do very little damage to her to disable her. You've just sucked so bad that this is going
okay.
I just want to make sure everyone understands.
I've got 80 to hit here. 65. It's a good thing I took the boost because otherwise
roll
I
your
would
damage.
Fail. Jesus Christ! This lady is like a demon. Okay,
No.
2 damage.
And as you slam her head to the ground, she goes unconscious.
Oh, thank God. I just push her and myself away and like just scramble back until I hit the wall. And then I look at the shotgun and I start scrambling towards that and grab it and just crack it shut and then just like point it at her and just watch for a moment to make sure that she's not.
She's just laying there, blood pooling out of her mouth. She is very contorted, you can tell. She's extremely skinny.
Jesus fucking Christ, what the fuck is going on? I go out into the hall, close the door behind me, taking the shotgun with me.
Mm-hmm.
Down the steps.
Down the steps, you see a quaint living room. Doesn't look like it's used particularly well. There's no like TV or anything. You see a kitchen on one side of the house, but at the base of the stairs, you can see there is the front door going out onto a porch, and you can see that it is storming outside.
Looking for 2 things, keys and a telephone.
You find no keys, that's for sure. Hang on.
Hoping there's like a car or something like that.
Unfortunately, there is no car. And as you look around, you find no phone.
Jesus! Fucking crazy lady doesn't have a phone, She's talking about the fucking garage. And I go out into the storm to try and like look in the garage for any sort of like transportation.
The garage is there, but it has definitely been damaged. It's a standalone garage. We've described it before in a few episodes ago, but you can see some of the siding and some of the shingles on the roof have definitely blown off in the heavy winds. And as you're stomping across, you're in mud and you can see huge puddles on the ground, all sorts of debris. Inside, it's definitely big enough for a car, but you don't see one. And you do notice that there's a lot of water that is pouring into this garage, but then you see it all kind of coming to this center space and just, you see it pouring down into something, and you just hear the sounds of water falling. Like it's something's pouring off the side and landing on something else. Like there's like a hole or a depression in the center.
You're muted, Stephen.
Oh, yep. I move towards the depression. Is there like a grate or something? Vin wouldn't know this. He hasn't been here.
I know. You would find a hatch door, basically. And if you pull up the hatch, you can see the seams are, they're not perfect, So like it's swollen here and there, but you can see the water is pouring down into some kind of like underground compartment. You see a ladder going down, but you also see there's probably a 2-3 feet worth of water filling up down there.
Some kind of fucking murder dungeon? Anyone in there?
You don't hear anything.
Looking around, would there be like a flashlight or something in this garage?
Roll a luck test.
Quickly looking. That's
Looking.
just D50. I don't need to find the stat. That's a crit fail, 99.
You do not see. You see a plate of food and a tall glass of lemonade on one of the workbenches.
I assume I'm pretty thirsty too, aren't I?
That's up to you. What do you think Price would be thinking like that right now?
Ah, shit. I go down the hatch, just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
And you see a relatively small room with all sorts of crates and some barrels and some shelves. You can see lots of guns. You can see what looks like an old M60 from Vietnam era. You can see like clinging to the wall at one point, there's like an old Colt up there, shotguns. There's a Smith & Wesson revolver that you see, unfortunately, in the water itself. You can see what looks like a wooden crate with Cyrillic markings floating in the water. You can see the top half of what appears to be like some kind of barrel, like some old tin barrel. And you can see a bunch of cans of Progresso soup on the wall. And you can see what honestly looks like a prison cell at the far side of this room.
Anyone in that prison cell?
Doesn't appear to be. And again, you're like standing at about 1 foot to 2 feet of water as it's definitely piling up down here.
Toss the double barrel shotgun into the water and head towards that M60.
Shotgun goes off. It shoots, breaks the ladder. You're trapped in here and you drown. Okay, yeah, you want to get it? You want to get the M60 machine gun? Okay, sure. There are several belts of ammunition. Yes, you could get this.
And then I look at the box with Cyrillic writing on it. I assume it's Russian. And I crack open that.
More than likely. You can see what appears to be some very Soviet era. You can tell by the iconography. Soviet era hazmat suits or radiation suits.
Fuck is this? Jesus. What the fuck is going on? Oh. I've got M60 and a belt of ammunition. And I'm just looking for what I honestly have no idea what Vin would make of this, because it would just be the weirdest fucking circumstances to wake up in.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling like I need to catalog everything in this weird fucking murder dungeon. So I take the M60 up and I go back into the house because there's a fucking storm and I can't just walk away in it right now.
Okay. What do you do with Jamie?
I would absolutely... That's a good question, actually. Before I leave that dungeon, would there be like handcuffs or a chain or anything like that?
Roll a luck test for some handcuffs.
Nope, fail.
No, but you could certainly find some rope or something like that in the garage. That's not an issue.
Okay, so I look for something like that, and I go back in the house, and I would tie her to the bed that I woke up in.
Okay. Done and done.
And then I don't know what the fuck to do, so I think I would just try to like grab like a dining room chair and set it up in the corner of that room. Actually, I didn't check the upstairs. I'd check out the other bedrooms upstairs. See if there's
there definitely is another bedroom, but you can tell this looks more like a hoarder's closet now. And there's a lot of stuff here. Like literally, you step into the room and there are stacks from floor to ceiling of newspapers, magazines, what looks like old like printer boxes and stuff like that with old printer paper. I mean, like it looks very much like a hoarder's den in here. And it smells
through all that.
not great.
Doesn't. I would I would sit in that corner and keep that gun pointed on her until she wakes up.
Okay. Let's cut then back to Carr, Chopra, and Weaver, because Inferno, eventually, the bus comes. Get on the bus. Bus takes you down. Do you want to come back to Phoenix?
Yeah, back to Phoenix.
And you get down to Phoenix without issue. And by the time you get back to Phoenix, it's evening time, and you can see that the sky is clear down here. And you were fine.
I'm going to cab my way to the original location we all visited or meted at.
Yeah, you go to this airport area. You look at this business, sort of like rental business area. It's empty. You're not even really sure what day of the week it is, but it's certainly a weekday. It's on a weekend, judging by like the traffic and whatnot. Empty parking lot. No vehicles whatsoever. We'll say you take an Uber or a cab or something. No parking lot whatsoever.
Just want to check out the building, if it's open at all.
No, it's not, but you could try. If you want to break in, you probably could. Do you want to?
Yeah, if it's not too hard, I'll give it an attempt.
Yeah, I think you could. You could certainly do if you've got locksmith, craft locksmith. I know Lisa's got it, but I can't remember if anybody else does.
Is that like a special skill?
It is. It is a craft skill for locksmith that has special training. You could also just do like a strength test or something to break a window or something. You don't even have to roll a strength test. You can literally just pick up a rock and break one of these glass windows or doors or something like that. You're pretty sure it's probably going to trigger alarms. So you probably don't have like a ton of time. You would probably know that once you trigger the alarm, you probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 or 20 minutes before whatever security service this place has been assigned to this place is probably going to go and look at that alarm. So if you wanted to break it, I didn't catch that.
I'll be brash about it. Break myself in.
Okay, so you pick up a big rock, you smash a window, and you start searching. Is there something you're searching for?
If there's some rooms, some items, if this place actually does anything, really.
What's your search?
Search is 75.
Okay. You go through and you find what appears to be everything in the same place that you saw when you first came in here. It is very much a rental office suite. What that means is that it's unlikely a place that actually has permanent residence by a company, but people probably rent it out for different things. And that is exactly what you see. You see desks and offices and conference rooms. You see filing cabinets. You see some of these desk drawers, but when you open them up, they're all basically empty. The only thing that you ever find in drawers are like controls, like remote controls for like maybe shutters or like the fan or an AV projector. That's the only thing you ever find like buried. And every now and then you might find a piece of trash here and there that might be like a real estate company that held a seminar here, or it might look like some kind of security training, but there's nothing here that kind of suggests branding of any kind.
Then I'll leave and head to the airport.
Okay. We'll say you get out.
I'll let the others know that I'm in Phoenix.
Okay. We'll say you could probably get a burner, and we knew that was it Weaver's phone that was working?
Yeah.
So you can probably get a burner, send a text, and then we will cut on that text, and we see Weaver checking her phone, and there's a message from Inferno. This is probably 4 hours since the last time we saw you guys, and it's like, in Phoenix, okay, or whatever. Is something like that, Inferno, or is there something more specific?
Yeah, that's good enough.
Okay. So, Weaver, Chopra, Carr, still in the hospital. What do you do?
I think we might try and get discharged. See if they'll let us.
Yes, you can definitely do that. It would be against medical advice. They would probably want you to stay, but they can't keep you. They also ask you questions about Inferno, like what happened to your friend, where is he? What kind of things do you say about him?
He needed to report back. He'll take the rest of his medical care by his home office.
Okay. So we'll say you go through the dotting of I's, crossing of T's, paperwork fill out, get your stuff back. You get your clothes from when you went out there. They are in not great condition. Maybe they give you some scrubs or something to help like patch up places that, got too damaged in the storm when you were out in the desert. But I'll say by the time you guys get out, it is nighttime, so it's even darker. So it's around the same time, I would say, Inferno is at the airport is when you all finally get discharged from the hospital. So it's like evening, basically.
Yeah.
It is storming. The rain is lessening, but there's still dark clouds overhead. So
We should head back to our hotel room. Maybe if Vin did stop by, maybe he left us something.
We've got to keep looking for him, but I don't even know where to start. So it's a good thing as any. Did you say Inferno's in Phoenix?
Yep, I did. And as we're having this conversation, we've flagged down a taxi.
you probably call and reserve one.
However. Yeah, they're probably not driving around.
Kingman's not really a flag, a taxi town kind of place.
I was reading so much stuff while we were
That's fair. It's all
you
good.
Specifically need to get a wheelchair one because you're in a wheelchair.
Yeah, it's true. You are struggling a bit. Okay. Done.
So if we're back in the hotel room, he's not here. Where
can we just reset I want to reset for a second.
Yeah.
So the last time any of you remember seeing Vin, not counting a dream, you all split and went in completely separate directions inside the City of Gloom. And the last thing Weaver saw was Price getting attacked by a creature of myth that was flying inexplicably in the sky with screaming, blood-curdling screams. And ripped a 30-foot-long intestinal whip out of their own body to hurt people with. That is what you saw. That's the last time anybody saw him.
Yeah.
So they all
know Price can tank that.
I'm just saying, you guys know what you saw. So, we have to. I think this is just one of those situations where we got to be careful. I know you all as players know that he is elsewhere, but in reality, would any of you think that Price made it out?
Well,
Really?
and Cara, depending on whether she's heard that full story yet, didn't see that, so she probably needs someone to fill her in because she was in the other
and
direction.
Chopra were the last to see Price, if I recall correctly.
I think this is something we would start to talk about once we got to the hotel.
Yeah. And in that case, then it's right. I didn't see where he went, but and she's specifically asking Weaver, you remember, and she describes the last scene that they saw. That was what you saw too, right? That's the last time I saw him.
Yeah, there's no fucking way he's alive. How do you survive that? I don't. Are we even and then she pinches herself, again, just to make sure she's not still dreaming, we're not stuck. That we didn't die there. Yeah.
Do you pinch yourself? Yeah, everything's fine.
That face.
He's trying to freak me out.
So I got a log though. I got logs. And Car, the one thing you did see is what that creature could do, as it obliterated Dr. Marshall and Sarah Wynn and Carlos Ramirez. It without much effort at all. And the last thing they saw was that creature fighting Vin, basically.
Okay, that's I didn't see him, but I did see. I don't know if you all saw this, and she'll describe the horror that was kind of Marshall's last few moments. I know this is outside of our protocols, but you seemed to actually know his identity, Weaver.
Yeah.
Good to know.
You're muted, my Trey.
Does he have any family need to call?
So
I don't-
Vin was always open about his name, but he
Yeah.
never talked about his family.
Yeah, that's what I was
Except
like.
I
that's
did
what
give
thought
you
too.
shit about being a shitty dad. I'm the only one who
Yeah, I
did.
let that slide, but I would have never actually talked about my kid.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's one of those things where, like, I don't think that was
I don't
born
think-
from
yeah.
the character knowledge. It was born from player knowledge, probably.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Not that I know of. I mean,
Well,
Alright.
maybe Inferno had the right idea of.
Yeah, well, I mean, the operation is done, and that's what Infernal was trying
is
to...
it though? That does not feel like we finished shit. That feels like we fucking
found the
unleashed some fucking
disappearing city.
horrific creature upon this town. It's been raining inexplicably and storming since we fucking got out of there. Like, we pissed off something, and I don't know what to do. We learned it all leads back to
saying
Frank.
it's good. I'm saying our job is mostly done. I'm not saying that
you're not
We
wrong.
didn't
good
stop
thing.
it though. Like, we ran away.
We weren't.
We're-
We were just supposed to figure out if the facility existed, which we did, and we continue to stop stuff from being built. It has been being stopped being built the last little while, and we have to make sure that is continued.
But
The
something's
three of
fucking
us
with
in
our-
a fucking Best Western can't do it. Like, we have to
I mean,
get
yeah.
people involved.
But like
No, and-
everything's blocking our attempts to contact. Like, I tried calling,
Just
Inferno
right
tried
now.
calling.
You know what? Give me
You
that
try
card.
calling. You try
yeah,
calling.
like, give me that card. Let's see what number.
Call the
what
real
I
number.
get.
I don't know about this fucking one. We really need to report this.
Well, I don't have her real number. You have her real number?
Don't we? So shouldn't we just have like any other different numbers that we should be able to contact the program with?
We would have gotten one from her at the very beginning.
Well,
of
I
the
got the
op.
card that I called from my phone, so the number is in my phone, which I no longer have. So I don't have her number. If one of you have her number, I'm happy to call.
You've called her number. The number that you know for Light
Yeah,
Hall, you've called.
yeah. But I've called from my phone, which I don't have anymore.
Here, you try
whatever-
calling, and Lisa will give up her phone for you to call.
I will call the original number.
Okay. You hear a ring or two go. It's like kind of a little bit longer, and then the phone comes up, and you hear an old woman's voice, and she says, "This is the Inkwell. You've got Lavana. Can I help you?"
Operation Windblown.
That's the second person who's said that to me today. I still don't know what it means.
Lighter holder.
I'm sorry, there's no one here by that name.
All right, thanks. And she hangs up. This is the number for the inkwell. I've called this number before. It went straight to the voicemail.
No, and
Yeah,
then I
what the
called
hell?
that same number and
Just
I
give me
didn't get the
give me the
inkwell.
damn phone. Give me
I
the
got
damn
the
phone.
chapel.
Car's gonna grab the phone and Car's gonna call.
Okay. You get...
Well, hello, you've reached the heavenly chapel of the celestial matron. This is Minister Kath speaking. What can I do for you on this blessed evening?
Oh, for God's sake! And she just hangs up the phone.
Okay. All right.
Because Weaver had already told her.
I told you something's preventing us from communicating.
I'm gonna call the new number from the Best Western one. Like from the room.
Oh, the new one that we got from the
Oh, no. The numbers are the same. I
the
said
numbers-
all
Oh,
of
shit,
the
okay.
all of the communication stuff was identical. All the numbers and everything like that. Just the picture was different.
Oh, got it. I'm sorry that I missed.
No, it's okay. Lots of stuff has been going down, and it's weird.
Okay. So, I think we need to. We did what we came here to do.
Let's just
We-
rest. My fucking head hurts. I don't know what to do with this shit.
We need to find a way to make sure that this area is not developed. That feels like that's what we need. That's the way we wrap this up.
That's the main thing left to do. And somehow Kingman keeps getting not built on, and we just have to make sure that continues to not happen.
Yeah. Weaver will start to look around the room just again to see if anything's moved, if there's any
You don't
signs
have
of
the
it.
same. You don't have the same.
Oh,
room.
our stuff
You've been
didn't
gone
get
for
saved.
7 days, so you've got a different room.
Got it.
And yeah,
Uh,
so
That's fair.
yeah. So you look around and you don't notice anything out of the ordinary. Anything that you probably had, I can't remember if you all packed before you left, but you probably could get your card. Yeah, you can get your cars back, and if you check with the motel, you can get like your things back and that kind of stuff. So you can get some stuff that they had in storage or they were going to sell, and then like probably with like a tip or two without any issues, get another room. It's much easier to.
Two missing as someone rated lost and found.
Yeah, there's like a few things missing, but nothing like serious. And you do notice that there's far fewer people. There's like, you remember there used to be fleets of like Winnebagos and like motorcycle crews and stuff like that. There's nothing anymore. It's like a, comparatively speaking, it's a ghost town. It's not actually a ghost town, but comparatively it is. Okay, so do you rest? Is that what you all do? It's evening time. You guys are probably exhausted.
Yeah.
Chipper does.
Yeah.
I think if they we'll finally watch that movie we intended to watch before going, but then go to bed.
Or we'll fall asleep.
Celebrate
Like
with the
5 minutes
They
into
do
the
that.
movie.
Like there's just
I don't know. Like I think because watch out, hold on. Lisa's no. One of Lisa's psychological solaces is she likes to watch TV. That's a way that she like chills out.
this movie is not the chill out kind of movie.
If it gets too stressful, she will turn it off and then she'll like put on like Friends or something.
Popping
I
on
will
some
not-
Or
Golden
maybe that's
Girls
probably what we
reruns.
would do is just do
I will not tell you what the movie's about because you've had 2 months where you could have gone and seen it yourself. And I have told you multiple times how to do that, and you haven't.
That's fine.
So I will not summarize it for you. Suffice to say, you're probably pretty horrified pretty quickly. Okay. We're going to cut back to Price. Price, you've been here for 2 hours. The storm has lessened, but not stopped. And she hasn't, as far as you know, moved. You haven't heard anything. What'd you do?
Sitting alone with my thoughts would be moving towards one thing particular that really strikes me as important and a priority right now. And I start feeling my coat to see if there's a little baggie in there. that was in there before.
Give me a luck test. We'll say.
I've failed every single luck test.
It's your time. You
Uh,
do.
Crit fail,
Damn.
77. That's my third
Oh
of the
my
night. Third
gosh.
77.
You
These dice
cannot
are-
stop crit feeling tonight. What the
Shout out Norse
fuck?
Foundry.
Throw those dice across the room and do new
More
ones.
than likely,
Yeah,
if it was
seriously.
So my
here,
lolly dice. I can't.
if it was here, someone cleaned, iron pressed, and stitched together your clothes. So if it was here, she probably tossed it.
Fuck. I would get bored waiting. I know she's tied. I would check the knots one more time to be safe.
Okay.
And I would just start rifling through the house.
Okay.
Probably starting downstairs, because that hoarder's nest is a den of anxiety that's not worth it.
Okay. Give me a search test.
All right. I'll take 2 audience dice there.
Thank you,
putting me to
audience.
71. 23 under 71.
Okay. One thing you find that is probably of use to you is an old flip phone. It's like late 90s, early 2000s. It's like old school, thick and heavy. Like it's pretty old. But you do find one. And it is like in some kind of junk drawer. And it's got like all the wires and such for like charging and everything as well. But yeah, you do find one.
Plug it in, turn it on, hope for signal.
Okay. I think you would still be able to do emergency calls from this thing, if I recall correctly. Yeah, so that's a 10.
So it doesn't
You
have
would be-
service.
No, it does not have. It doesn't have. Yeah, it doesn't have a plan. But I still think you'd be able to do emergency calls from it.
Called 911.
Okay. Call 911. What do you say?
I have no idea where I am. I've been kidnapped by a crazy lady who murdered her husband. She has guns in the basement. Please help me.
Okay. Okay.
I honestly would. At this point, I am ready to turn her in and get myself the fuck out. And I want them to bring lots of guns because I am panicked.
Okay.
Oh, I want to know where this 911 call goes.
So you call 911.
Celestial matron.
Someone takes your. So like it's a no. It's you get 911 call center and you report this to, and they're like, sir, can you be more? Can you give us any identifying information about where you're at? Can you look for any mail? Is there an address? Can you look? Does the house have a number?
Rifling
Can
through
you-
like junk drawers and stuff looking for mail while on the line.
And you find an address.
Yeah, I repeat that address. What's the name on the address?
The name is Jamie and Donald Byers.
Byers.
Let me make sure.
That
Yeah.
breaks the mystique. I really was hoping for Warrant.
Warrant was also a bit of a joke that he
Yeah.
was making. So
You should know by now that I don't do random in Delta Green or Call of Cthulhu. So let me just put it that way when it comes to the names. That's not a random name. Jamie and Donald Byers. Okay. Eventually, cops arrive. Probably an hour, maybe less. Eventually, cops arrive. Do you identify who you are, by the way? Do you say I'm an FBI agent?
I would say that I was on the case for FBI.
Do you identify you as an
and
FBI
I would
agent?
mention the
Okay.
sheriff and everything that I worked with. That we were.
Okay. Eventually, the sheriff's office does show up, and you see walking in Sheriff Gus. And he sees you, and the deputies are like, got hands on guns, and like,
There's an M60 on the table behind us.
I know, he's like, they're like looking at it, and they're taking stock, and they're like, Agent Price, what in the hell are you doing here?
I have no idea. I got lost in the desert. I collapsed by the highway. Next thing I know, I wake up in that bed. It's stained in blood. There is a man's body in the fucking suitcase in the closet. Old lady's tied to the bed still. She will, and I point out like the scratches on my neck.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
and the knife wound as well. Well, I don't know why I would go to scratches first when I've been stabbed in the hand.
I think
Stabbed me. She was calling me Donald like I was her husband. She's insane.
okay. So the deputies will go check, and one of them will come back down and will say, "Sir, everything he says is, well, checks out. Mrs. Byers is unconscious. I think she's got a broken jaw. I assume that's your work. She's like 70 pounds, soaking wet." And they all kind of look at you. They're like, "You're trained bit," and then they kind of like, they shake it off. Like, and he's not wrong. There's human remains in the trunk. Been dead for quite some time. And like Gus just sort of shakes his head like, oh God. And you can tell this is a broken man. Like, it's just one thing after another. All right.
I've learned that coincidences aren't always a coincidence.
You think
I was able
it's
to walk out of that desert looking for the kids. She snatched me. When this storm lets up, get some excavators out here. You never know what you'll find.
She snatched you. She's
I was delirious.
85-year-old woman, and she weighs 70 pounds. She has no vehicle. She gets her groceries delivered. How?
She's got an accomplice for all I fucking know. I woke up
Did you
and she was
see
ready to stab me.
Anybody?
And I think back to Weaver and I kind of pause for a second. No, I didn't see anyone else.
All right. Henry, take the agent back to the station. Take his statement. We got a lot of work to do. And they get you up. They bring you out into a car. And they drive you back to the station. And we see this lengthy montage of Price in an interrogation room going over his statement over and over and over and over.
With the whole thing, I'll be honest about, from like waking up to calling them, I'd be honest about the whole thing except for when I saw Weaver outside and like it wasn't Stormy.
Okay. Somewhere early morning hours, like where you're literally there until like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. You see Gus come in and says, Agent, we finally got in contact with your superior. She's come here to kind of just make a quick ID that you say you are. You don't have your credentials on you. I know all of us saw you, but Agent Hall, can you come in here, please? And you see coming into the room, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. And you are in this interrogation room. It's not like it's more like the waiting room. It's not like oh, you know, you're whatever. So you got a cup of coffee and they've given you food and someone is taking care of your bandage and stuff like that. So like you've been getting treated well. You see coming in is Agent Hall, except it's not the Agent Hall that you remember from when you were debriefed for Operation Windblown. You do not see a late 40-something African-American woman with tight cropped hair and a slender frame. You instead see a woman probably in her early 70s with kind of ratty brown gray hair that is a little stringy but combed down about the length of her shoulders. She's dressed professionally, and she clearly has like a visitor's badge and such on, and like you can see like her, like she looks professional. And she comes in and she says, "Oh, Vinny, we were just so worried about you. I'm just so happy to see you all right. Oh, excellent job, Sheriff. You did a wonderful job. Do you mind if I speak with my agent for a moment?" And he's like, yeah, of course I am. Of course. And like he almost kind of looks like a little kid. Like he's like almost in his head kind of bowed a little bit, and she's a good head shorter than him. And he just looks kind of cowed a little bit, like a little kid would. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And he leaves the room.
As she came in, I would have seen her come in, but then I would have also kind of been looking behind her, like expecting Lyda Hall to be like following behind, like she's being escorted in. And then when this person I don't know says my name, I would have a very visible look of confusion, because I'm rested a little bit better, but I'm still very disoriented by this whole thing. And I would just kind of like keep my eyes on her and try to see if I recognize her at all.
No, never seen her before in your life.
I would just keep sitting there and kind of staring.
Ben, are you all right?
Who are you?
Special Agent Lyda Hall.
The sheriff and everyone else are gone now at this point, right?
Everyone's gone as far as you can tell. As you're like looking at her,
Okay.
you don't know. Maybe, probably not. It's like a waiting room as opposed to an interrogation room. She does sort of look familiar. As you start to look at her, she starts to talk, but like she doesn't sound right. And her hair isn't right. But her face kind of looks familiar. I think you've seen her before, but it was in like in a dream. And she just says, well, looks like you went and got yourself into all sorts of trouble, didn't you now?
Just trying to solve the case.
Trying to solve the case. Well, did you?
Yes, we didn't have. We couldn't.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
We found the complex. We couldn't save the kids.
Oh. Did anyone ask you to save them?
I asked me to save them.
Oh. Why's that there, Ben? You ain't ever been much of a father, have you? And now suddenly, want to help all these kids?
If Chris was missing, I'd want someone else to put the same work in.
Well, that's very noble of you. Very noble. And also, well, a bit naive. Now, you don't have to worry about those kids anymore. They're in a better place. And with better people. Now,
Really?
well, I'm Special Agent Lyda Hall. And she stands up at this point. But people have called me other things.
Like what?
Mama. And then the lights go out inside of this break room and everything is black. And you just hear this strange hum. You see the overhead lights begin to flicker like this strobing effect. And you see this massive form appear in the room. Everything's kind of flickering and going crazy. And it just seems like she's growing and inflating until you see all these like tentacles and arms kind of flopping around. You hear things crashing. You smell salt water. You feel the rush of the ocean on your ankles. And then, Agent Price. Agent Price. And you look up and you realize you've fallen asleep in the break room. There's this big pool of your drool on the table itself. Your coffee cup has spilled over onto the floor and it's kind of dribbling down your shoe. And the sheriff's there. Agent Price, you can head on out. I got word from the hospital that your team, they're back at the Best Western. If you want to go, I'm sure they're worried. I talked to them earlier today and basically said that you're dead. Are you okay? You look like you're right. Well, stupid question after what you've been through.
I'm sorry, I missed some of that. You said the rest of my team, is that?
Oh, but except that fella, he got Inferno. He flew the coop. But no, the rest of the ladies are over at the Best Western now. It's about it's almost 6 a.m. But you got cleared. Your supervisor kind of dotted all the I's and crossed the T's we need. You're definitely gonna need to probably come back here and whenever we go charging as buyers, and decent chance there might be some kind of plea deal going down, so it might not come to trial, but you might have to do some official. But we got all your information. Your office forwarded over just fine.
Sheriff, I need to crash. I'm sorry. Could I get a ride from one of your guys?
Oh yeah. That's no problem. Hey, Henry, can you take Mr. Price here, Agent Price here, over to the join up with his team?
Thank you, Sheriff. I'll be back whatever you need me for. I'll make the trip back.
Okay. And so, Price, you leave. Short while after that, as Inferno, did you fly back to New Jersey?
Yeah, eventually I would.
Okay.
Making pizza.
Maybe you got on the red eye. So we see this sort of jumping back and forth with Price getting in to one of these deputy vehicles and driving back to the Best Western. We see Inferno sleeping a bit, maybe on the plane. Red eye lands somewhere in Newark Airport. You can kind of see him kind of getting his taxi or his Uber and starting to drive back. Are you going back home, Inferno? Is that the idea?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we check back in at the Best Western as Carr and Weaver and Chopper, you're just getting up 7 o'clock in the morning or so. You hear a knock on the door.
Who the fuck?
Agents, it's Henry Wheeler. It's Deputy Wheeler.
Yeah.
I got your man here.
Who? Inferno?
No, the old one.
Oh,
Agent
shit.
Price.
And you hear just fumbling as Weaver falls out of the bed and is crawling to the door, and then she gets up right before she opens it.
You open the door, and there is an exhausted and terrified and just beaten down looking Vin in front of you.
Oh,
I wave with a hand that's bandaged.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Come lay down, and she'll put lead Vin to her bed, basically, that she just got out of.
Ooh, okay.
Not in a here, old man, lay down.
I got my own room. I just.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
I just wanted to say hi, I guess.
Normally, you're too cheap.
Say.
Is that Pastor Wood?
You're mixing up Pastor Wood.
Finish too. He only splurges on cocaine and cigarettes.
And monsters.
And the energy drinks. I was just thinking.
Which are all very
Sounds like
expensive, so I
Pastor-
gotta save pennies somewhere else. No, they got me another room. I just wanted to make sure you all are okay and tell you I'm okay. And it seems like we've done that. Everyone's okay, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay, enough. Thank you,
Okay
Deputy.
enough.
Thank you, Deputy. Appreciate it.
I mean, all right, yeah. Take care, y'all.
Hey,
Morning.
Vin, could you come in here just a second before you go to your room?
Yeah.
Yeah, where the fuck were you? As Weaver's shutting the door.
You need to hear it from me, or can I just forward you the police report?
Yes, I think we'd like to hear it from you. I mean, we're super glad that you're alive, but
Last thing
we
we know,
thought you
you're
were
running
dead
from some
till, like,
horrific
20 minutes
fucking
ago.
creature.
Okay, one at a time. One at a time. I ran. I went over a cliff. I was fucking Moses wandering the desert for 40 fucking years. Made it to a highway. 2 guys found me. I passed out. Next thing I know, I'm in this fucking crazy, batshit crazy old lady's house. She's coming at me with a knife and then a shotgun. Her husband is fucking chopped up and put into a suitcase in the closet. There's a basement full of guns. And I called the cops to come pick me up because I had no signal and had no car and had nowhere else. Nothing. It's been a... I can't say that this was worse than that. But they're weird in very fucking different ways. And I really need some fucking sleep.
All right,
Okay.
listen, before you go, do you have any other way to get a hold of the program? Because, like, the number we have from Letter Hall isn't going to Letter
Don't-
Hall.
Yeah, it keeps going to like
No.
this bookstore.
Lyda Hall. Jesus fucking Christ, how did I miss that part? Oh, I don't even know how to fucking explain this.
It's not right? She doesn't look right.
And
You
she
can say
purples
that
at the
again.
guard, like, apparently this lady
Yeah.
came to the fucking hospital to check on us.
We saw her in a dream. I was like, I was in a car and we're driving. Well, Inferno is driving, and then she's like walking in the rain, and she's got 3 dogs with her.
Did I have this dream too?
Yes, all of you had the dream. Every one of you.
Yeah, that lady from the dream. I saw her.
And she
real life or-
knows us, like in the dream. Like I felt like
No,
she knew who we
hold on.
were.
I saw her at the sheriff's department. Unless that was a dream too. I don't. Sheriff said Lyda Hall came to check on, to visually verify who I was. And she came in the room. She said she goes by a lot of names. One of which is Mama. And then the fucking lights went out and they started flashing and she just started... It was like she was bloated from the ocean. Like there was seawater that just flooded the room. And then I woke up again. But half of that, at least some of that, wasn't a dream.
so it sounds like you've had a way worse night than we did. We're just waking up. I
Yeah.
don't know that we have anything left that we need to do here. What
Except
do you...
tell the program that the operation's done and we can't seem
We
to
can do that
fucking
from
do
anywhere. I'm wondering if it's been storming here. There's something here that maybe if we're not here anymore, phones may actually work the way they're supposed to. And maybe once we just get out of this shit, that we'll actually be able to talk to people like we think we should be able to talk to people again.
Hey, Weaver, can you text Inferno back and ask him to call that number again, that he's out of here?
Yeah,
At least
sure.
we don't have to fucking wait to see if that works.
Listen,
Then you opposed to sleeping on a plane?
God. I've been in the program for a long time. We tried to report it. Lyda Hall came to me face to face, whoever the fuck Mama is. We've done our part. I'm gonna go home.
Agreed.
I mean, in the
Wait,
dream,
can
she
you
did.
send that text? It doesn't take all that much effort to figure out if we can do it.
Yeah, she already sent it when you first asked.
Or something.
So we cut to Agent Inferno in a car leaving the airport, going back home, and you get a text. For you, it's probably like, I guess, around 9 or 10 a.m. And you see this text from Weaver that says, what? Try the number again? What was it? Does it say?
It just says, yeah, try number again.
Try Dr. Hall's number again, tell her operation completed. Maybe we can't get a hold of her because of the location.
Which in Weaver does it a lot shorter. Try to call again.
It's text.
Outside
Okay.
Daisy.
Gotcha. So Inferno, this is the text you get. What do you want to do?
If I'm available, then I will try and give it a call again.
Yeah, you're like in the back. You're probably dozing off in the back of an Uber or a cab, something like that. Okay, you give a call, and you hear, "Hey, how you doing? You've got the inkwell. This is Lavana Hearn speaking. Can I help you?"
No, sorry, you can't help me. I hang up.
Done.
And I'll send a text back. It's just cryptic bullshit. It's not working. Operation's over.
And if Weaver reads the text out, Carr will agree.
Yeah.
Inferno's got the right of it.
And as Weaver starts to grab her shit, she just says, yeah, and the dream did tell us to just go home and say goodbye.
Fuck the program. I'm going to sleep. And I walk out of the room.
Okay. So what does happen then? I know Inferno, you've already out. We know what you're doing. But what about those of you in Kingman? Do you leave? Do you do anything else before you leave? Do we?
I would crash. I wouldn't try to coordinate with the rest about leaving, but then I would eventually go home, yeah.
Okay. What about Carr?
Carr wants to try to, because basically we have to figure out how to tie this up on our own. So Carr wants to see what she can kind of back channel with sort of like FBI contacts or like that kind of, calling in favors kind of a thing. Because if I remember from the beginning, there was a particular like bill that was holding up construction out here. And so basically wanting to see that continues so that the construction continues to be held up.
What's your bureaucracy at?
60.
Okay, that's plenty. So are you just checking in, or is this something you're looking to do when you get back to your field office in Vegas? Like, is this something you're trying to actively take a hand in, or are you just checking in and getting information?
I would say actively taking a hand in kind of doing this as sort of a wrap up for Carr.
And but I'm asking, are you leaving Kingman and going back to your agency office? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to know if we're leaving Kingman, if we're closing this down.
I'd say we're closing Kingman. Yeah.
Because our Inferno is out. Carr heads back to Vegas. Price is eventually going to leave. You said, okay. What about and I will also say the next morning, by the way, the storms do lighten up. Like, you can tell that there's a lot of news stories about, like the craziest storm of the century, that kind of stuff. But like, then there's other people who's like, well, we needed it. And like, this is just a great, all of our water levels kind of going up. This is exactly what we need out here. Like, all that kind of stuff. Chopra or Weaver, do you leave? Like, once everyone starts to peel away and just kind of leave Kingman on its own, do you leave? Or do you do something else?
Chopper
Weaver
do
does.
something else, so Ash, go ahead.
Okay.
Weaver does leave. She does. She's at this point. She hasn't had any text from Jamie. She still hasn't confirmed if Aunt Viv is actually dead or if that was just Eric Kingman fucking with her. So she's gonna travel to visit Aunt Viv to confirm.
I want to point out, you have at no point tried to call anybody other than the number to light a hall in Inferno. So, like, you could have done that at any point.
At this point, she's pushing it off. Like, if she, if it's not real until she actually.
Okay, fair enough.
To.
Okay, I just didn't want you to think that it was some crazed mystery. Like, if it's an emotional blockage, that's one thing. But
it's an emotional block. Yeah.
It's not a mystery. Okay.
Yeah, she's in denial.
So you eventually head back east. Okay.
Yes.
And then Chopra. You said there was something else you wanted to do.
Yeah, Chopra's also eventually going to leave, like Price. But before that, she is really fucking worried that this was not a Delta Green operation. And she's like, why the fuck can't I reach my handler? What did we do all this for? Like, what the fuck? And so she is trying to figure out some other way to reach the program, and I don't even know what the approach would be.
You all have like emergency contact things to report something. You all have stuff like that, but it's not like you're talking to anybody. It's more just like an info drop. Like, you could just call in, but it's not like anything really, it's not like you're going to talk. There's no 800 number to call to human resources or anything like that. But there are basically voicemail centers that you can drop a message for people for sure.
Until Jeff does a beautiful mind and you go to that mailbox and you find that there are envelopes and envelopes from the years that you've been dropping stuff off.
There are so many games that we could play, and you all agreed to play Delta Green. So if that's not an agreement to be gaslit, I don't know what is.
Adventures in gaslighting.
For sure.
Yeah, adventures in gas. Yeah. So anyway, Chopra will call the emergency number then. Goes straight to voicemail.
It's like it's a voicemail drop basically. Like you're dropping info onto it. So all of you have that kind of stuff. Like, it's not like a thing that you would have to search for. And so what is it you just basically say?
Sorry, I've obviously figured this out in.
You don't have to I don't even know word for word. I just want the general sentiment.
Essentially, it's there were memory shenanigans, so I need to know if Operation Windblown was a real thing given to G7.
Okay.
By a handler a week and a half ago.
Okay. And you don't have your phone anymore. However, you probably have a dummy email or something like that.
Definitely. Yeah.
You at some point within about 8 hours of leaving the voicemail, you get some kind of cryptic piece of junk mail from someone by the name of Daniel Zaloni. And when you open it up, you can see that it's an advertisement for a retirement community, like a nursing community. And you can see the message typed as part of the above the attachment of the image is just wanted to confirm that you're officially in. Period.
And now she will call that number back and say Operation Windblown complete, and then leave.
Okay. So one by one and different times, maybe even different days.
Yeah, Price especially wouldn't necessarily be doing something,
Mm-hmm.
But he would want to stay at the hotel and he would have the news on literally 24/7, just hoping that maybe this coverage will go back to these hikers, and specifically he'd be looking for Jeremy Benton, anything about Jeremy Benton. He's past the point where he's actively going out and looking, but that's the one that we didn't really quite confirm what happened.
Sure.
He just disappeared from the hospital, and Vin would just be kind of hyper focusing on that, obsessing over it.
I would, if you're okay with this, I would transition this into your personal pursuit, right? Because I think your personal pursuit, you were telling me, was stay on the case.
Yeah.
So, so if you want, we can do that. Let me get those back up so I can walk through the specifics. So, so time will be moving much more loosely now, and so as you all start to spread off and return to your various places of origin, and you start kind of getting back into your lives, you will over time heal. So whether it's Chopra's leg, or whether it's your stab wound price, or whether it's just your terrible skin, your sunburn. Some of you had like severe burns. There's scrapes, bruises, stitches, things like that. So price, if we're going to treat this like your personal pursuit, let me bring that back up. So
You'd be rolling my criminology.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. So you spend nights, weekends. Do you stay? And so you stay in the area and you're just kind of keeping an eye on things?
Yeah,
Okay.
for at least a week after. And then I would probably, like, as time moves more loosely, I would like fly back and things like that.
Okay. So reduce one bond by one other than a deltagreen bond.
That'll be from Edie, my partner in the CIA.
Okay. So basically I think that manifests where several times you're getting messages from her, like whether it's like email, Dropbox, something like that, like where the hell are you, Vin? Like, this kind of things, you either ignore them or you kind of blow them off, whatever it might be. You get 1d6 minus 3 sand and coming to terms with what happened, or obsessing over it if the roll means a loss of sand. So go ahead, 1d6 minus 3.
All right, I've been rolling great tonight, so this can't go wrong. Fuck, I rolled a 1.
All right, minus
Jeez.
2. So you lose 2 sand from this and you start obsessing over it self-destructively. Okay, and then I secretly roll for you using your criminology or occult rating. What are your numbers for those? Can you tell me them?
Criminology is 10, occult is 42.
Okay. Okay. You spend probably a couple weeks in the area before heading back to the East Coast, obsessing over it to the point where maybe you come into a run-in with a Kingman deputy. You were kind of poking around in this and that. You, however, find no evidence of it. Even the Bentons eventually return to their homes. They even have a funeral. You can see that in the news at some point. The news in Kingman moves on. They start talking about the weather for a while, the strangeness of the weather, but eventually it just sort of gets forgotten and kind of blended in together. And you heal, and the other news is this scandal about Jamie Byers that comes free, and that her husband Donald Byers. And then one thing that pops up is that DNA testing on the remains of Donald Byers suggests that it's not actually Donald Byers, and that according to the military records, Donald Byers died in Vietnam in 1969, and that the DNA match it, like it just doesn't align. And so like these cousins of Donald Byers coming out of the woodworks, like distant family and stuff like that, are like sort of coming into Kingman. It's creating this weird kind of mystery going, like, who the hell was this mystery man that kind of was showing up here and there? And so that becomes the obsession in Kingman, and no one talks about the missing hikers anymore. Okay. So Bryce will head back.
That's
Cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Car, you headed back to Vegas and you wanted to try to sow some seeds. So your bureaucracy was really high. You don't even need a roll. 60 is extremely high. One of the things you're able to do is you're able to get up into some connections maybe in the government and the DOD, some lobbying agencies and stuff like that. And what becomes clear, and you realize that your attempts to help forestall it, it's really part of a groundswell. And you start to hear that March Technologies and Breckenridge, like their plans for development are on hold. Some of it has to do with the damage that's been done because of those storms. And it opened up these sinkholes and things like that that previously weren't there. And that kind of seems to have given them some pause, while some additional geological studies from the U.S. Geological Survey Center is kind of looking into some things here and there. Okay. And not only that, there has been some impassioned pleas from Congresswoman Karras that as she's kind of used her platform to kind of talk a little bit more about like the death of her son. And so like there's definitely people who are coming on board with her side, and it almost seems like sympathy. And so there's kind of like this political debate whether she's using crocodile tears or she's exploiting her own child's death to kind of move this forward. But nonetheless, It does seem to be so crazily complex at this point that it doesn't happen. However, you do learn that Marx Technologies has instead turned their attention to a similar site, but it's in Washington State.
Interesting.
Okay. While we're with you, do you have your personal pursuit that you were interested in?
Yeah. So for Agent Carr, she did need to. So we will see Agent Carr kind of once she wraps up stuff in Vegas. She has a kind of uncomfortable conversation with her boss, Mara Richards, again, that she needs to go back to New Mexico and visit her mom. And so you see her kind of back at that sort of like retirement community building that her mom was in when we first met Agent Carr, when she joined G-Cell. So you see her kind of go back to visit her mother. She kind of first goes to kind of the second floor of this building because her mom had been, kind of recovering from knee surgery. The nurse says, no, she's officially been moved to the third floor in the memory unit. So Andy goes to see her mom, Joy, and her mom's still doing relatively well. And, her mom's kind of excited to see her. It's been a bit, and, kind of Carr's not looking particularly well. So she kind of wants to kind of, mother on her a little bit, as it were. And, one of the things that happened during this is that she had to kind of push off some of that sanity loss kind of onto, kind of this bond. And when she had her break was when she saw Anne die after sort of being hugged and kind of shriveling and dying. And so like anytime her mom tries to like, oh dear, you and you look so, because she's still, sunburned and recovering from all of that. She basically just sort of freezes and kind of pushes her mom away. And so, her mom, who's having to move where she lives and, is really upset at, kind of all of the things that have been going on, is trying to connect with Andy, and Andy just any kind of physical contact is just kind of pushing her away. So it's an incredibly awkward visit. And she does start to see a little bit more of kind of the memory things kind of going on with her mother. So it's just a awful visit that she does not feel good about at all.
Okay. Is this something that do we want to call this like, is there like a home scene you're looking to do mechanically for this? Or is this just like your kind of like your story development?
This was the story development and the pushing off of the stress onto the bonds, and the new disorder, kind of that fear of touch disorder. The simple thing that she wants to do, which is relatively straightforward, is she's an FBI agent and she wants to improve her firearm skill. So like all of this horrible stuff happens. And so she's just like, I just need to be better prepared to be able to take things out when they need to be taken out. And so she's doing this skill development where she just spends a ton of time at the gun range to improve her firearm skill.
All right, so you basically are going to do two things. You can do two separate skills or stats, or one stat and a skill. So you're going to do firearms, and what's the second you want to do? I mean, you could always do like dex or something like that. Like if you want to increase your stat on top of it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay,
yeah,
so
dex and firearms.
So then, so roll what you're looking to improve. So go ahead and roll firearms.
All right, I'll roll in Foundry so we can all see it. That is a fail. It is an 84 over 40.
Fail is good. Roll 3d6s.
Oh, that's a 14.
Add 14 percentage points to your firearms skill. This is not like a one-time thing. This is like literally weeks and weeks of you going to this, right? So we can just see you going and going and going. But each increase to a stat or skill reduces one by one, not a deltagreen bond. So is this distracting you from spending time with your mother?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say reduce your bond with her by 1, and then roll dex times 5.
All right, dex times 5. I succeeded here, 46 under 50.
Okay, then I don't think you actually get anything with that one. But still, that's a huge firearms increase. It's
yes,
fantastic.
absolutely. It was a 6, a 6, and a 2. So awesome.
So as we leave Agent Carr and we leave Vegas, one last thing I'll note that you like a little nugget that comes across your desk at one point. That old man Enrique Navarro went missing. No one saw him. No one's seen him for a while. No one suspects any foul play. But they just think like he was just getting harassed too much in the media and he's kind of disappeared. But who knows?
Okay.
You check in New Jersey with Inferno and the Dante family. So you've gotten back to New Jersey. You get back to eventually get back to your family. The last we saw of your family, they're having lots of money problems. The IRS was getting involved in the pizzeria. Some kind of money laundering thing, missed taxes, stuff like that. What is Inferno doing over the, weeks, months, who knows? What kind of personal pursuits is Inferno up to?
I'm going to go with study the unnatural. So I picked up a couple things from green boxes. I'm spending some time playing with it, messing with them, reading.
Okay. I
so
like it.
The dodecahedron, like some photos and a vignette of things like that.
Okay. Do you want to look into the dodecahedron, or do you want to look into like the files and it was the paperwork. It was a like a study that was done on it at some point. I think you found that in the green box that we just saw price in. Okay, let me pull something up really fast because the dodecahedron's a little special.
Special.
One moment.
Doing the research.
Yeah, so like spending my time in the pizzeria, when people try to talk to me about subjects, I did pick up a disorder. I have fugues now. So when they're speaking to me, I'll sometimes go catatonic or have a 1,000-yard stare, like I'm not paying attention to them. I'm focused in my own head, just all the thoughts and horrors I've seen.
Are you also having your mother worry about you as she's trying to have a conversation with you and you're just not? Do you burn some pizzas?
Yeah, leaving the pizzas in the oven for too long starts burning up the place. Fire alarm goes off.
Oh, good gracious.
Okay. What do you notice when you study this thing? And because you've already read some stuff about it, that it just people have tried to map it and understand it. anytime that you find yourself focusing on it, you are swept up with this sudden vertigo. And as like all these different facets of the shape appear to like just rush towards you and then kind of sweep you away. It's a very discomforting feeling, like whenever you stare at it. But at the same time, it's nonetheless it's a fascinating, sort of a fascinating experience at the same time. Like it feels terrible, but just looking at this thing is causing this physical reaction in you. I'm going to give you an option. There's sort of two ways that you could look into this. You could... Do you have any sciences or mathematics?
Let me see. No, if it's like custom skills, I don't have anything like that.
Okay. All right. Do you have any like computer science or anything?
I have 0 in that as well.
Okay. One of the things that becomes abundantly clear to you, and you're just doing, and it kind of almost reminds you a little bit of Brooklyn and how there was that one room where everything was just the math wasn't added up. The measurements weren't adding up. When you start measuring the different sides and the different facets of this, the measurements aren't adding up. Like no matter how you do it, the shape shouldn't exist based upon the measurements you're doing with each side, with each angle, and which each face. You understand what I'm saying? Like the math, if you look at just the shape of it and you just measure it with sort of rudimentary tools, you get this feeling every time you look at it that you're trying to look into it and through it. And that seems to be what kind of rushes past your brain. You get a new disorder, Inferno. Obsession must understand the Gaudi shape, as that is what the term that the paperwork that you found inside of the green box. So you would guess that if you could take it to an expert in computer science, they might be able to do some sort of scanning software to try to map it. That could possibly help. Okay.
Nice.
All right.
And then on top of that, I lose.
Yeah, I think you lose a D4.
Bond.
Yeah. D4 with probably the family, since you're paying so much attention to this. Yeah.
It's a 1. Not bad.
Okay. Not bad. They probably leave you alone because you look like shit when you get back. Like, oh, God. Every time he goes out of town. Chopra, let's check in with you. What's life like for Chopra when you get back?
It's probably spending a lot of time like trying to figure out how to still be effective at work. And because she can't do the standard test pilot thing in the way that she is so used to doing, and she definitely doesn't want to go back to just writing technical manuals again and again. So she's going to work with their boss to kind of figure out, mechanically it's increasing 2 skills, but she's basically going to figure out with the boss to reframe her work, which she takes incredibly seriously, to do a lot more tech work, which will increase the second, and spending a lot of time at the range so she can be more effective at like the firearm stuff, a part of testing combat stuff when that becomes necessary. So firearms and second are the 2 mechanical skills she's looking to upgrade, and it's because of the broken leg.
Yeah, let's do one at a time. Do me a firearms roll. It's the same thing Car was doing, so give me a firearms roll.
Sweet.
Let me know how you do. I can't see it, so just call it out.
Failure with a 43.
Okay, you want to fail, so roll 3d6s, and that's what you increase your firearms by.
You got this. Another good roll.
Here's hoping. I just failed last time, so. Nice. Melissa, you manifested a good roll for me with
Nice.
a 13.
13.
Nice.
I saw 2 6s come up on my screen on the digital dice, and I'm like, oh man, that's gonna be huge. Then I saw the 13, I'm like, aw, that's gonna suck the third time as a win. Okay. Increase your firearms by 13, but then reduce your bond and with either was it Janet or Liam? Was those names?
Yeah,
Or
I'll
Jeanette?
take it down with Janet.
Okay.
Because I already only have one friend, so I should definitely ruin that.
It's just you keep getting invited out, maybe like they calling in, seeing if you can we get dinner? We want to talk. We haven't talked in a while, that kind of thing. But we see you instead, like just kind of ignoring the food. We see the phone buzz like on the little shelf where you're like loading up the gun in the range.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're just sort of ignoring it because you've got the headphones on.
Or she eventually will text back like 3 days later, like, sorry, I've been busy with work. I'll call you.
Okay.
I never do.
And then we got to do SIGINT too. Give us a SIGINT roll. Sorry, I totally forgot.
All right, you got to fail this one too.
Which I did with an
Yay.
81.
Yeah, give us 36 then. This is great.
got
You guys are crushing. Not as good a roll.
No, that's an 8.
8's still better than you a couple seconds ago. So it's way better than what Price got. So
I
it's
actually
better
did
than
do
the
this as a
nada I
pastime
got.
once, and I passed my rolls.
Oh, that sucks.
go ahead and reduce another bond score one. You can choose the same if you like, but it has to go down by one for each skill.
I was hoping to do the same because then it's more or less the same thing with
Okay.
with her just ignoring Janet.
Okay. Absolutely.
I'm promising to call and not.
And then finally, let's check in with Weaver for your mechanical pursuit. I'll tell you this, Weaver, when you get home, it's awkward. Aunt Viv has, in fact, passed. No one really understands why. The prevailing theory is that she's been on some meds, some like anti-anxiety type meds, and she's been drinking. She loves her wine, as you know, and the prevailing theory is that some combination of those two things caused an effect, and she just kind of lost it and like wandered out one night and collapsed, and there was no one around. And the reason you hear from Cody that Jamie hasn't been talking to you is because Jamie blames you. And apparently, if you could just get your shit together and you wouldn't be causing Aunt Viv so much stress and anxiety, well, she wouldn't have been taking those meds and she wouldn't have been drinking so much if you would have just been a better mom so that Aunt Viv doesn't have to do it. And this is what Cody doesn't, when conveys this, Cody doesn't agree with her, obviously, but he tells you what it is and assures you that he is working on it. Like she's going to come around.
Yeah.
Someday.
And she's sobbing at this point. And she even tells him that she blames herself and that she's been trying and she's so sorry. And she's like, I'll continue to just do. I'm working on it, Cody. I promise. You guys both deserve better, more than I've been giving you, and I'm sorry.
And he is like sweet and kind. He's the guy, you understand why you got together to begin with. Like his weirdness is gone, but he's very sympathetic. He's a good ear. He gives you a hug and he's just listens and he tries to reinforce because he knows this is a horrible time. And then you also, again, look terrible when you show up. And he doesn't ask questions because he knows not to.
Yep.
So we see this.
And she doesn't offer any explanations because she knows no one will believe her. They all think she's fallen off the wagon anyways, and it's probably best that they think so at this time.
And you were gone for a week.
Yep.
You missed a funeral.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And she definitely beats herself up about it. And yeah.
so what was your personal pursuit? And then we'll close down shop for tonight.
Her personal pursuit was staying on the case because Aunt Viv died, Frank died, and she feels like there's something there. Like she's so close to figuring something out, and she feels like if she just keeps pulling on those threads, she'll figure it out. And so she actually, she goes to the inkwell because she stays within the area, and since
New
we
York.
kept
Head
calling,
back to Brooklyn.
yeah, so she heads back to Brooklyn. And she, gets a shitty hotel, and she posts up there by the inkwell, and she goes to see like what information do they have that they can provide her about the sisters, about specifically Mater Superiorum.
You talking about the inkwell?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you get there, you realize it's a sandwich shop. There is no inkwell.
It's not there anymore?
No, when you go inside and you ask,
Yeah.
it is a family-run sandwich shop that has been in business for 40 years. Roll a sand test.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
What?
Again,
16
years.
success.
40 years. It's been here for 40 years. What are you talking about? What do you mean books? We ain't got no books here. We got like flyers and shit. Is that what you're talking about? I mean, I probably got a magazine, but kids don't read the magazines no more. Got like a TV. I'm sorry. You said you passed?
Yeah.
I don't know why I just rolled a D100. You lose 100 sanity. You passed minimum. Then it's 1. It's 1. I don't know why I'm rolling. It's so dumb. It's late. Okay. Give me, what's your occult score?
Occult is 38.
Because that's what the mechanics of stay on the case is. Okay. Reeling from that. Maybe you find a motel room at some point. Maybe you stay in the city. Maybe you drive back. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is. You fall asleep that night. And you're not sure if you wake up. You're not sure if it's a dream. But you find yourself in the passenger seat, shotgun, a very large SUV. You look over to your left, and you see there is Inferno at the wheel. Inferno, you have just come home from studying the dodecahedron, maybe making some calls to Rutgers or some local community college in New Jersey to try to find a computer science expert. And you look over and you see sitting next to you, this SUV is Weaver. We move around, we can see all the way in the back car. You can still smell the sort of the scent of the kind of firearm, the fire range. It's still on you, and Chopper too. You look at each other, sitting next to each other on this sort of bench seat in this third row of this large SUV. We see Vin sitting behind Weaver. Then you don't even know where your mind was a moment ago. You were in the desert. You were thinking about failure, not finding Benton, and you look up and you can see passing by outside. It's desert. You see cacti. You see scrublands. You see rocky outcroppings. You see... It's not really Kingman, though. You spent weeks there. And you recognize desert, and that's when you all kind of start to notice each other. And you realize you're all in this SUV again. And the road ahead, Inferno, that you can see, and you're driving, it's 2 lanes, it's paved, but it's very, very old. And the terrain is largely void of buildings. But after a minute or two, you see this small, old, mission-style church. with exposed oak beams and these adobe walls, shuttered windows, and a small bell tower in the rear. And you hear a ding, ding. In front of, like, the car rolls up and you see a T intersection forms, like, right at the corner where this church is. And that's when you hear, all of you, a voice. Two of you recognize his voice. It says, "This is it." And you hear the door open up in the row where Agent Price is sitting. And when you all look over, you see Declan G.W. Ellis with his sports coat, his rimmed glasses, his turtleneck, get out of the car before it even comes to a complete stop and starts walking up to the front door of this church. And that's where we're going to stop for tonight, and we'll pick up there next time.
Oh my god!
And I get to play 2 characters next session.
Yeah.
Do you?
You wish.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Jeff,
Oof, that was
such
a
a
long
good
one.
session.
Huh?
I'm sorry. Jesus Christ.
Oh, so good.
Oh my gosh.
We're near the end.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I think
we're
we're
near
at
the
the
end.
end. Holy shit!
We're near the end. You guys, some of you sent me some stuff. Don't worry. We're going to get to it. Some of you sent me some stuff. Don't worry. It's happening. But yeah, that's where we're gonna end. Oh God, exhausting.
Wow.
Exhausting. 3 hours long. Okay.
I want to
Yeah.
ask for
Session.
20 more minutes, but you look so tired.
20 more
I'm just
minutes,
trying to
like
be
20 more
respectful.
hours.
I could play for another hour, honestly. Like, but we probably shouldn't. I probably wouldn't be able to run Call of Cthulhu tomorrow. I wouldn't have a voice. Because what happens to me, my voice will get wrecked. But yeah, that's where we're at. We are really close to the end. I think there is a chance that next session could be the finale. I think 2 sessions is probably more likely, but there is an outside chance we could finish up next time. But I think 2 more might be it.
Wow.
Where we're at. It's pretty close.
Been a hell
We've
of
been
a
playing this for a
campaign.
year and a half. Year and a
That's
half. we've been playing this.
crazy to think about.
Wow.
July of last year, I think it was when we first started playing. 2020. Yeah, I mean we've got more sessions of Call of Cthulhu at this point, but that's a weekly game, so it's totally different.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one we've only been playing, I think, this year, right? Like we just started that this year or something, earlier at the beginning of the year.
Well, yeah, this one's bi-weekly. So really we started like 2 months ago and we need to keep going.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness.
Can I just get a little call? Hey, Long, how much sanity does Inferno have?
15.
How much sanity does Price have?
22.
How much sanity does Weaver have?
36, and I'm 1 away from my breaking point.
Look at
Okay.
you, you're rich.
Oh,
Yeah. And I think Card and Chopra, are you in the 40s?
Yeah.
I'm 58. I'm
Get
sorry.
the fuck out of here.
I know.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What is this? Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Go visit
Yeah,
more
I don't-
sandwich shops.
I was telling Steven, like, I don't think Inferno's long for this release. Got 15 sand.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, goodness. You are such a lunatic right now. I just got to think, like, no one even probably bats an eye when they see you walk into this pizzeria covered in wounds and sunburned. It's like, well, he was like that 2 weeks ago. So this is just sort of a,
Can we just respect how long has been without Sam? Like it's been 75% of this campaign. He's been like under 30.
That is true. I'm genuinely surprised he's actually survived. I feel like I did something wrong at some point. I feel like he should have gone crazy a while ago. I'm looking at
I
his
remember
bonds.
our prequel being like, wow, Inferno's gonna go
I've been
crazy
able to
soon.
shove off a lot of.
Your bonds are so low.
Yeah, they're
Holy crap.
Are they really?
He has quite a few, but they're all very low. Except for Giovanni Russo, your mob contact. You've maintained that relationship, apparently. Look at it right
Launder
now.
that money.
So good. Oh,
my
goodness. All right, let's go ahead. Let's do some plugs to get out of here. Steven, let's hear what Maitre has to say about what she does on the internet.
I am multi-place games on YouTube where I make system agnostic or multi-system content that centers the general play experience.
Fantastic. All right, Steven, tell us, what have you been doing, man? What's going on?
I've got a tabletop RPG. It's called Huckleberry. It's really fucking fantastic, and you absolutely should check it out. If you're on the fence and you want to play it, well, guess what? I'm running sessions of it. You can join our Discord, Lollygagger Discord, because we got a Lollygagger logo on here too. And you can play a session. I'm running one actually tomorrow morning too, so there's no reason not to join the session this very moment and sign up to play.
Fantastic. I'm looking for raids, and I feel like we've outlasted everybody. Is that what's going on? Who I would normally raid? I think is Chuck already done?
Yeah.
Is DOK done? Okay. I don't see them on here.
No one's got our stamina.
That's what it is. I'm exhausted. So yeah, we're gonna be doing something random tonight. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. Okay, so us tomorrow, Call of Cthulhu. If I wake up. And then Monday, Otherscape. Monday's becoming a weekly game. We're going to be doing Otherscape every week. We're going to be making some slight changes, but very excited for that. Tuesday, you can see. Yeah, it's very cool. My workload very much enjoys it. Tuesday, Stephen hops back into the seat. He's going to run us through more of Star Trek Adventures. Then Thursday next week, I think we're going to do some sort of fancy little one shot for Halloween, as we're going to take a week off from our Arzium game. And then Friday next week, we'll be back to Dragonbane. I think that's it. I think I gotta raid someone, and I'm not sure who. This is going to be totally random because I'm just like looking for games that we normally play, and I'm just not seeing any games or any people who are playing the same thing we're playing.
Let me see.
I don't know. This is crazy.
So I can't help.
That's fine. Let's do I don't know what this is, but I can see their faces. So let's do Long Lost Lore. I don't know the game. So yeah, we're just gonna raid them just for funsies. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Have a great rest of your night. We'll see y'all later. Never mind, they're off stream. Gosh darn it. I don't know. Anyhow, we're just gonna get the hell out of here. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
We'll see y'all later. Bye bye.